user sounds were being hosted, so I decided to use this.
Thank you very much to Pedro Camacho for making beautiful Star Citizen music. Oh, it's lovely. Well, thanks, Pedro. Is that all right? Have I clicked on the right thing? That looks like me, doesn't it? Hello, welcome to a Star Citizen-y chatty stream. I'm Bob. I hope everyone is doing well. Even if you're not, I hope I can help brighten your day by giving you Star Citizen opinions and news and facts and talking about things that you would like to talk about. The stream is entitled Alpha 3.6 stuff, or Let's Talk About 3.6. So that will be a heavy topic, and if you want to ask questions on whatever, please feel free to. Question in brackets helps me decipher it from the rest of the chat. But you can ask about Star Citizen, about the main topic of today's sort of stream, or about me, mental health, whatever. You can ask me relationship advice if you really want. I'm pretty single, so don't know if I'm the best to give it, but you know, I'll give it a damn fucking good go. Thank you for all the love. Lots of people saying hello. You should get hyped for when you get notifications, Bjorn, and you should ding that bell, dun dun dun, and share that video. I don't know what YouTubers say. Oh, I do. That's what Safety Boy was supposed to be. Safety Boy is supposed to be an in-your-face bullshitter, which he will be. Safety Boy will return, hopefully, a lot more when we have in-game stuff that we can play to a bit of a higher degree of persistence, progression, ease of use for lots of randoms to get in. So I want to start doing gameplay streams and gameplay videos with specific purposes. It's not maybe some of the streams will be more fuck aroundy, but I want to showcase a lot of what Star Citizen has to offer. Hopefully that's not too loud audio wise. But did not have time to log into the celebration. Can you please elaborate on it? Is it something like the CitizenCon last year in-game event exhibition? No. So the Origin Celebration event was a few things sort of like mixed together. The release of 3.5.1, which gave a load of quality of life updates to the game, and also had the rest of the 300 series of variants. So we've got 300i, which we already had in game, but we now have the 315p, the 225A, and the 350R all reworked to the same standard that the 300i was. And the Origin Celebration also allowed you to customize those 300 series. Either if you already have one, you can customize it, or if you buy one new, customize it, both from the website, and there's some free options, but there's also paid IRL real money options. The celebration also allowed anyone that gets on until the 13th of June to try out any of the flyable Origin series of ships that's flyable now. So the 600R you have access to, all of the 300 series, the 85X, the M50, all of that stuff. So if you want to jump on before the 13th, you can fly those around and mess around with those, and it's worth it if you want to play with them. 3.5.1 is a lot better than 3.5's branch. It's lots of quality of life updates, but there's still some glaring faults with it, and there were loads of server problems a little while after they deployed that 3.5.1 patch. They've since updated it with their little mini hotfix or mini update or something, which has seen a lot more stability in the game and even more quality of life improvements, or at least one more. But it did stabilize a lot of the servers that I was having random outlying issues with. Like, you would fall through the floor everywhere at one point. But there's still problems with combat and the flight model and loads of little minor problems with individual ships, like the 300 series cargo still falls through it, things like that. So I hope 3.6 will solve a lot of those problems. There's like the fixed weapon bug as well, which people are annoyed at. Obviously, I've had mixed, sort of erratic kind of issues with fixed weapons. If you turn your gimbal mode to fixed when you have fixed weapons, and if your server's not overburdened, the fixed weapons do sometimes work for long periods of time, but then they can just sort of like go out of sync or issues happen. Again, 3.6... I should hopefully fix a load of those problems, and we'll talk more about 3.6 in details. But yeah, the Origin Celebration, nothing for sale other than the 300 series of ships and customization for those 300 series of ships, but access to all of the Origin ships. BoredGamer, great last video, by the way. Thank you very much, Reza. I had a awful migraine and headache yesterday, which put me in a foul mood. I couldn't speak at one point properly. I was going... I might put it into outtakes, although people will be like, go to a hospital, what the fuck. Occasionally I get quite bad migraines, and it screws my brain up, like I can't think properly. So that's just from probably being reasonably unhealthy and having an anxious sort of like anxiety disorder, you know what I mean. I've finally been able to catch one of your live streams. It's 5 AM here. Well, I hope you're going to bed soon, or you've just woken up and you're real perky. Not sharing their times. Is it me, or is it blooming cold today? So I love the cold. It is far too hot in my room. The central heating system is basically in and around my room. So the colder it is outside, typically the hotter it is in my room because the central heating is on. Oh my god, 3 or 4 AM in the morning when it's a CIG live stream typically. Oh, Reza, that's well, you don't need to watch them live. Get someone else to ask questions for you, or submit a question first. It's not the be all and end all having that sort of stuff live. And occasionally you'll be able to watch a CitizenCon live because they move them around the world, so it'll be different times. Happy Boyington. Wait, what is Star Citizen? No, that's not. I know. You know full well what Star Citizen is. You know, words. How you doing? Feeling well? Yeah, so yesterday I was really fucking rough. I'm supposed to play Cameron, who's was CIG's events manager, but now he's got a new job title there. I'm supposed to be playing him at Battletech today, probably, and he hasn't beaten me at Battletech yet. I've beaten him every time, even if it's been bullshit. And like one time he had me convincingly beaten, and he ran up to me to finish me off, and I got a 50 to 1 shot and punched his mech's head off with my light mech. Yes! And other times I use my superpower, which is intense whining. Sort of like, oh, this is really, oh yeah. I suck the fun out of the game for everyone else so that I can win. They take pity on me, and then I maliciously and aggressively strike them down with that. Oh, fuck, I'm a monster. But I don't want to lose against him now that I've set a precedent. I really enjoyed the little reveal of Keanu Reeves being in Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, as was it Steely McBob, Silver Fist McSteely, who died in what 2022 or something, 2024 in the lore. But yeah, that was cool. I'm really looking forward to Cyberpunk. It was one of the few single player games that I'm looking forward to. Maybe one day it will have multiplayer. Who knows? Also, at the end of this month, I believe I get my Vive Index. Oh. So does DC. I think Cameron's going to probably buy one as well. We're probably going to grab Zin because she's got the Oculus still. We're going to grab her the Knuckles controllers, whatever the hell they're called at the moment, the Vive Index controllers, and see if they work. Well, we're actually just, she can use DCs to see if they work. If they work, then we'll just chuck the Knuckles controllers in with her headset, or maybe we'll try and buy her a headset. But it's like £1,000 to get it all as a bundle. Maybe they don't need the lighthouses because they already have lighthouses. Maybe they can do it a lot cheaper. But will 3.6 happen this year? Yes, 3.6 will happen this year. I can say that with a high probability, unless there's like CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, opens a black hole and the human civilization ends on Earth. Specific on Earth. I don't know if there's other human civilizations out and around the world. Maybe it's like Xenogenesis. We've been seeded around. I've gone a bit weird today, so you have to deal with that. Is there an issue with gravity in ships being floating around my 600i? There are many problems with the 600i. Of all the ships in the game, I actually think it has the most problems. They are going back to the 600i after they finish the 890 jump, apparently, to give it a bit of another quick pass. It won't be like a full rework or anything, but it'll be a light pass as I understand it. And hopefully, when they do that, they'll be able to do it within a quarter, and bam, it should fix a load of major problems. But expect it to have its problems also fixed out in 3.6 and 3.7. Star Citizen on next-gen Xbox. I would potentially, I think we could potentially see it on, well, Squadron 42. Let's start with Squadron 42. I think we could potentially see Squadron 42 on the PlayStation 5 and next-gen Xbox. When looking at their jobs that they had going for Star Citizen, some of that was implying that console development would have been useful for the job. They could have just been talking about development in general. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe it's exactly the same or very similar. But if they don't have to scale Star Citizen down for a console release, then they'll do it. Almost certainly. I mean, why wouldn't they? They sell a load more units. So consoles will typically, at the moment, sell huge amounts of units of games compared to the PC. Now, what the PC is great for is if they were doing a subscription-based model like World of Warcraft or something. Now, I mean, it obviously works with EVE, and that obviously they're going to be selling UEC and monetizing in other ways as well, probably. And they'll do well out of it, doing it on the PC and being a very high-spec, high-end fidelity game. But next-gen consoles, they might be able to play Squadron 42 to the level that it's intended to be. And I don't think they would ignore that. But it would be a PC game coming to the console, not the other way around, not a sloppy port. And it's only a possibility. I'm not saying, yes, it's happening, but I'm saying they'd be stupid not to, wouldn't they? If they could get it and it would work fine, bah. It's not planned to come to the console. And originally they said, well, we're making a PC game, we're not making a console game. But I don't think they should ever move everything off the table like that. Is that fair enough? The 325A is massive power creep. Size 4 is crazy. Yeah, so some of the ship sort of the components and weapon packages they came together with, I didn't really agree with. I would like to see more gimbaled sort of like models, because obviously at the moment a lot of people are using the auto gimbaled function because it's really easy to use. And if you're just sort of like going around Star Citizen as a tourist, which a lot of people, probably most people are. So you jump into the latest patch, play around a bit. You're not sort of like hardcore playing every night or anything. Then you're going to be maybe using auto gimbals most of the time, or at least I can see that appealing to a lot of people. So I'd like to see more gimbal options. But anyway, I mean, the items and weapon system for the customization outside of the game on the website, external to it, is irrelevant to me. Like, it's not, it wasn't the highest end components. You can buy that stuff in game, and you can get a better selection of exactly what you want for your role and job or whatever by buying that in game. And those changes now persist. So, bam, bought my new cannons, bought my new power plants in game with in-game money. They persist until the reset. So the only problem is going to come is if they try and overly monetize the weapons and items to give you stuff that would be exclusive to outside the game, or pre-overclocked items, which would be really hard to get, or allow you to have a military grade components, A-class military grade components for your Javelin or your Idris, just fully outfit it for like $2,000 or something. That sort of stuff has to really be obtained in game, in my opinion anyway. But hopefully they'll avoid that. And what I'd also like to see is the weapons and item choices for ships and vehicles to be significantly cheaper than they are. If they're coming together with a created package that's not the best, then significantly reduce the cost of that. So instead of having $24 packages, have it like more like $7 or $8, maybe no more than $10 for like a full weapons upgrade on the 300 series of ships, because you're not getting the best. You're getting what is focused that a manufacturer would give you. And if you're selling it for real money, incentivize people to buy by making them really cheap and just going, well, you're going to be changing them anyway. We're microtransaction you rather than macro-transaction you. That's my view anyway. Not that I'm going to be using the items and weapons upgrades options and customization options from the website. I literally see no point. And it's probably one of the reasons I'm not so grumpy about it than other people were. I don't see it as nickel and diming because I'm not going to be using it. I do think it needs some work. Will they fix in-game shaders for paint jobs to look like that in the shop? Yeah, so I've actually emailed CIG about getting different lighting option switches for the customization system, so you can see it across different sort of like lighting effects. So you can see it in fog, you can see it in yellowy light, in white light, all that sort of stuff. And I would expect that the paint jobs will be more representative of what they actually look like in the game when you have those options, because I think that the light significantly affects them. Well, obviously it does. When do you think it's possible for the Hercules to show up in game? So I would expect to see work starting on the Mercury Star Runner probably before the end of this year. Once they've completed the Mercury Star Runner and it's flyable, they will then move on to the Hercules. I believe that's the plan anyway. Any news concerning the server meshing? Did CIG hire new AI engineers? So looking at their job section and stuff, they've been hiring new AI engineers and more for the server meshing type side. They've been hiring network engineers and lots of specialists like that. Now, but AI-based stuff, there has been a pushback from 3.6 of the NPC barman and civilian and vendor AI, as well as 3D pathfinding for ships, I believe. So that's a shame. That's gone from 3.6 to 3.7. Now, some of that AI stuff for like the bartender and the civilians and stuff, that might be to do with animations, though. That's tying it all in together for the NPCs, but it might not necessarily be AI problems. It might be, getting all those new animations of the bartender making cocktails, flipping them around. That's the sound of making a cocktail. But yeah, so that's annoying. We've still got I think it's cover v1 in 3.6. Let's actually double check that to make sure I'm correct rather than giving you... Yeah, so FPS cover usage v1 is in 3.6. And I would expect to see some general fixes to AI and emissions and stuff like that in game anyway, and the AI to be a little bit more sort of like working and able to use the flight model a bit better. So that's the sort of stuff I'm expecting 3.6 quality of life and getting that stuff fixed more than it being super intelligent, because they're still working on the AI, they're still working on the skill level for the AI, they're still working on the AI loadouts and that sort of stuff. And they're all building those systems in still. And there's problems with the servers. So at the moment, we have major server problems. They are basically at their limit for what they can do with their current server tech. And if you read in the latest monthly report, they've been working hard on getting a load of server optimizations in 3.6, for example. We know that they've got the asynchronous disconnection refactor, which should help crashes and both server and client crashes and that sort of stuff. That should be very, very, very useful. Lots and lots and lots of little problems with the code and with people disconnecting, basically. But they're also making the server or the game server authoritative rather than client authoritative. Can't say that word very well. Which will mean that people with bad pings and bad connections, they don't degrade the performance of others. The server goes, this is where that player is. This is where this shot is. So what I say goes rather than what the client says goes. Now, that was an important change because that helps prevent cheating. That helps prevent bad experiences for other players when people are laggy. It doesn't favor the lagger effectively, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's super important for server meshing and some of the other tech and other optimizations that are coming forward. They needed to get it server authoritative first. They also said in the monthly report that it looks like server-side object container streaming, which is the next stage of this, meaning they can... so we've got object containers, we've got client-side object container streaming, which gave us frame rates of above 1. And then we've got then we've got server-side object container streaming. Now, at the moment, a server is the entire stanton system as it stands. One server for all of that. And that means servers are massively overstretched for gameplay area. And all of that stuff sort of like exists simultaneously on the server to a certain degree. There is some forms of culling and things. But server-side object container streaming allows them to stand by entire areas where there's no players. They go, bam, this area's not being used. Bam, this area not being used. Fantastic. Significantly more efficient. Loads more of the server power being used on areas that, are being used. So effectively, you get a much more efficient experience. And that could and should give us a significantly better experience than what we have currently with servers degrading, with only, they want sort of like 30 tick servers. At the moment, servers degrade to 10 ticks or below. Not ideal.
Cheers for all the SC news. Your passion for the game is admirable.
Oh, thank you very much, Andy H. Thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated. Yeah, so I don't see I've got, I'm passionate about things that I enjoy or things I want to talk about. I think you should talk with passion, whatever. I talk with, hopefully, with some form of knowledge. And I do love Star Citizen as a project. I do love the community, and I do love talking about it. I like being knowledgeable about it, and I like talking to an audience. So thank you very much. That's very much appreciated. But yeah, so once they have server-side object container streaming, they're able to stand by areas, significantly more efficient servers, hopefully a much better experience, and then that leads on to even more server optimizations, and then static server meshing, and then dynamic server meshing. So static server meshing is one server per area. So they can go, the area around Port is run by a server. Crusader is run by one server. Hurston's run by one server, and then it literally... allows you to seamlessly travel between them. Dynamic server meshing is literally going, any single object container can be run by a server and is dynamically spun up and down based on population of that object container. Bam. Oh, but with server-side object container streaming, they said they were sort of like pretty much ready to test it out. I'm not sure when that's going to be in our hands. Maybe it will be in 3.6. More likely it will be in 3.7, but... Did they give a clear answer about customization of other ships in the future? Yes, it's going to be available for other ships. Say I have an Origin 100i LTI game package. I've CCU'd to a Mercury. Would I be able to customize it while preserving the game package lifetime insurance status? They haven't given definites on that. I would expect you would be able to customize that ship, though. The Mercury side of it, once they allow customization for the Mercury. Do you think it will be harder with the new hover system to fly the Reclaimer and up? Yes. Large ships will be hard to use with the new hover system, in my opinion, because that they've talked more about it, but they sort of like originally intended the new hover system to act like a helicopter. When you're using HOV and VTOL, or when you're in atmosphere and going slow enough, that sort of like mode will kick in automatically. Your thrust will be directed downwards. So you can still strafe forwards. If you strafe forwards with W long enough, it'll start to pick up speed, and then you'll go back into non-hov mode. It will like start to use your thrusters normally. But if you're in hov mode and you tilt forward, you'll fly forward because your thrust is directed downwards, and then you like a helicopter. Yeah. You can still be able to strafe left and right and all that sort of jazz. They've been evolving it. They showed some stuff in Inside Star Citizen, but David Coulson's taken to the forums and chatted a lot more about it. So I kind of like the idea, and I'm warming more up to it. But I do think larger ships are going to have a hell of a time using it, because they're not going to have that powerful a down thrust compared to their mass. And I think it's going to be hard to fly them. So I'm quite excited about that, because I wanted ships to feel weightier and to look like they're in atmosphere when they're flying. And this sort of like ticks both boxes. All the boxes. Take care of yourself before you stress it with videos and making content. We love the videos, but we want it to go. We don't want it to go out on your health. But we don't want it to go out on your health. Plebsy, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So making videos and doing content keeps me more sane than anything else. It's a good focus. Otherwise, I'd be like worried about the nature of death, and is life infinitely important or meaningless? Things like that. So I like to focus on something I enjoy. Have you ever thought about being put into Squadron 42 as a character in one of the later episodes? Would love to see you in game. I'd love to be in game. I want to get scanned at some point. I'm not scanned yet. I'm going to keep on trying and asking CIG to be scanned. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Can we talk more about the server attack? Given that a lot of the issues at the moment stem from server problems, what do you think? Why do you think CIG doesn't tell us more about progress? They do tell us quite a bit about progress. But a lot of it is sort of like they're working on it. They do talk about it. They talk about it loads. I think a lot of it is that they don't want to promise what the server tech that they're working on will do. You know what I mean? Because they don't know until it's in our hands. They don't know until they're testing it. They're like, this is the intention of it, but they can't say how far they are with it until it's done and tested, because otherwise they don't really know themselves. When will the next system be out? We don't know. I'm expecting to see new systems next year with Magnus and Pyro, and then them probably working towards the Odin system. Sort of makes sense to me. So like Nyx and the other one. Magnus, Nyx, something than Odin. I've forgotten them all. Where do you think NPCs will go? So far, they're kind of boring. Most games have a bit of RP without the players being involved. More sound, voices, NPCs trying to fight in a bar. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the idea beyond, and that's some of the stuff that's been moved to 3.7. Some more interactions and with NPCs to NPCs and NPC vendors, and trying to make the world feel more alive. So they are literally trying to do that. They're trying to make the NPCs not boring. More than just moving around, they need them to be semi-interactive, a little bit breathing life. Is that a player? Is that an NPC? I don't really know. They're eating at a food vendor. They need to be breathing life into the world. And at the moment, they're sort of like existing-ish. Sometimes they disappear. But yeah, that's the intention. Make them more breathable, livable, interesting. Give them schedules. Give them addresses, the way they live. I mean, they're going to be simulating a load of them, simulating them in probability volumes and stuff, and have certain ones moving from here to there. And yeah, you'll be able to slow down an NPC when he's going to work, is the idea eventually, and that could have knock-on effects for the shop, potentially. Question, I have some chassis upgrades. I need to get my larger fleet ship. Are they going to make all ships available at the end of the year? So on the 23rd, 24th of November, we will see CitizenCon and the anniversary sale, sort of like at the same time, and I would expect almost all ships, if not all ships, to be available again then. But you'll probably see ships go available as other sales and other parts of other sales between then and now anyway. What ship are you most looking forward to customizing in-game? My Javelin, probably. Big JR. Yeah, probably my Javelin. Maybe, I mean, I've got quite a lot of love for Caterpillar and the Carrack as well. And a Merchantman. But yeah, probably the Javelin is the one I'm most looking forward to. You finally caught the live stream, Daniel. Good. I'm glad. Thanks. How long until hair systems? Wow. Wow. They've been working on it for a while. It's a new hair tech pipeline. I don't know. It could be 3.7 or it could be later. Obviously, they want it done for Squadron 42. Oh, AC's here. Hello, you. Thank you very much. I can't. AC. Thank you very much for the bits. Love your face. Very much appreciated, mate. You are a legend. As a concierge, the griefing gets worse. If griefers, you know, you're a concierge. Does this happen to me or others also experiencing this? What do you mean? Griefing gets worse as a concierge. How do you mean, Marcel? Please explain more. BoredGamer, what do you think about the gimbal assist? I think it's got potential. I'm okay with the game having a skill floor and a skill sort of like ceiling. I want the skill ceiling to be incredibly high so you can have great pilots. And I want the skill floor to be reasonable so new players can jump in and not feel entirely useless. So skill floor, bam. Auto gimbals, simple flight model with a learning curve. Yeah? That sort of like allows people to be reasonably good and be able to do, well, to fly, be able to shoot, be able to engage in combat, be useful in combat. But it can't be super overpowered. And it can't be like objectively just this super simple, easy mode to use. Is objectively better than getting really powerful and skilled with understanding how flight works, getting really good as a pilot, and learning to use fixed weapons and be good with that. You see what I mean? So you have a skill ceiling, you go, well, yeah, I can learn to fly better and just use these auto gimbals. Bam. And at least you're increasing your skill. But I'd hope that they'd probably go, well, the most DPS you could do would be with fixed weapons, or there's downsides to using the auto gimbals, and they reward you for doing that. Obviously, when we have physicalized components, targeting components might be a lot easier to do manually than with auto gimbals, because auto gimbals might just sort of like hit in the center of a ship or whatever, and more like around an area of a ship rather than directly precisely where you want to shoot. If you want to disable someone's power plant or shields or whatever, manually aiming might potentially be significantly better. But while ships have health pools at the moment, gimbal assist seems really, really overpowered. It might not be so overpowered in the future. Will a ship the size of the 890 Jump be able to land planetside? We've seen it sort of land planetside in concept. It should be able to land on some planets and moons. However, it's going to be dependent on its what it's laden with. So has it got a load of cargo or components? How heavy is it, basically? How much mass has it got? What thrusters has it got? What systems has it got? And the gravity and atmosphere of the moon and planet it's on. So some it might have trouble on, and it might require the SRV, or tractor beams, basically, to help it get out. And do you think we'll see the released picture? And do you think the released picture of the new orbital station design showed us ship docking stations? I suspect most stations will have the ability for larger ships to dock with them. I don't know. That was a very small sort of like. I'll show you what he means by that. So this is the sneak peek that was in the newsletter. The newsletter is in the description below. I think. Might not be. Let me link it. Might not have updated it because I'm a monster. There you go. Oh. There you go, mate. I think it's cool, that station, but I don't know much more about it than that. It just some geometry to me at the moment. We don't know what sort of damage you'll be able to do to space stations and starports and spaceports and things. We do know that they want to remove armistice zones, so there will be security and defensive sort of measures and law and security stuff there. They might have it that you can destroy sections or components and stuff on spaceports and space stations, maybe. We don't 100% know yet. Griefers or PvPers, this community doesn't know the difference often. It's because there's no... it's a polarizing subject. Because, yes, some people don't really define the difference properly between PvPers or griefers. Anytime they are wrong, they see it as a griefer. And that's partly because there's not that much for PvPers to do in the persistent universe. At the moment, there's no real reason other than to ruin someone else's day and get very minimal rewards. So once there's better systems in place for PvPers and pirates and outlaws, I think that will be a lot better for everyone, because that will give a lot more content to everyone. But you're right, there's a lot of polarization about griefers and PvPers and pirates and stuff, which I think is unfair a lot of the time. Not all the time. Some people I see just ram people at pads. They're griefing. When is the Star Runner due? I suspect we'll see work start on it towards the end of this year. Do you know anything of the upcoming major patches that will improve org management, missions, finances, or has that not all been discussed yet? So we know that one of the major pillars is organization features, and this includes party system improvements, mission sharing, and lots of other stuff as well. So this is organization both in and out of game, and organization features for direct organizations. So we know that there was no sharing of missions or anything like that in 3.6. Almost certainly going to be in 3.7, in my opinion. But Todd Pappy basically said, no, in 3.6, we're not having mission sharing, but soon. So mission sharing is going to be the leader of a group that you're in has access to anyone's missions that they are currently doing and can share that with the group. Or if you take a mission, that's shared with the group. And then you can do that mission and you share the reward, basically. You can see all the objectives together, all that sort of jazz. And then sort of like more of the org management, org features stuff is abilities to play as a large group, set that group up before you go into the game, share ships and finances and that sort of stuff much more easily. And that's the assumption behind all the org features. And they had it sort of like chronologically listed as something they wanted to do before full persistence and server meshing, which they're working on now. So we might see those a more full set of organization features later this year, but I am expecting to see bits of them come online from patch to patch. And probably 3.7, I'm hoping we get missions sharing. I'm glad a lot of people are having a lot of fun with 3.5.1. There was some problems with it when it was first deployed. Seems to be a bit erratic. At what stage of Star Citizen are the persistent systems expected? We don't have a timeline, really. They originally said they wanted to get them in by the end of this year. They look like they're working on them, because it's sort of like part and parcel of getting server meshing. Because after they have server-side object container streaming, the next step for that would be full persistence for that, because that means that they can save the areas that they stand by much more appropriately. And then that leads on to static server meshing. So we could see some of this by the end of this year. And then that might lead on to no more resets by some time, or sorry, no more resets is a too strong a word. It's less resets by next year. We might see less and less resets, because there might not be so many reasons to reset the servers, and they might want to see what players are doing longer term progression wise. Because they need to test that at some point. Will the Drake ships get customization? Yes. And do you think the Corsair might grow? It might, but wouldn't be by very much. The old style of ships only grew because they hadn't whiteboxed the interiors before concepting them. But now their pipeline includes the whiteboxing of the interiors first. Whitebox the major sections of the ship internally, and then build the exterior. You know what I mean? So they get the size right, or close to being right. But all ships will be able to be customized in game, at least at some point. Both aftermarket customization, which I'm most looking forward to, and the manufacturer customization, which is currently on the website. And I suspect that most, if not every ship, will have access to that sort of system at some point as well. Shouldn't be any problem with the music in the background. Alright. So do you think there will be a full Origin sale? Maybe at some point. They might. There'll be a 3.6 flyable sale. I was expecting to be there to be a full Origin sale during the Origin celebration. I don't know why they haven't overly monetized it. Typically, CIG would. It actually seems like a poor marketing system, a decision to not sell all of the Origin ships now because people would probably buy them. But I don't know. Maybe it would cause a bit of sort of like, well, they haven't got the customization system for these ships yet. Why would we do that? Who knows? But at some point, I would expect to see the Origin ships on sale, even if it's on the 23rd, 24th of November with CitizenCon. I know you are Star Citizen focused, but have you looked at Dual Universe? Yes, I'm an original Kickstart backer. Looks cool. I'll be playing it at some point. I'll be playing. There's another couple of other sort of like similar-ish games that I backed as well. But I want to take a look at Cyberpunk 2077, which I'll either play on stream or on my channel. Boneworks, because I've got a Vive Index coming to me soon, and that's one of the few things that's excited me in a long time. If it has multiplayer, oh my god, me and DC will be happy as hell. Again, that will be on either on the main channel or on stream or both. Do you think that 3.5.1 will get as much playtime because 3.6 alpha is so close? No, I think that a lot of people are waiting for 3.6 now. Because 3.5 was a disappointing release when it came to stability, and it sort of like broke some of the gameplay loops. 3.5.1 went some of the way to fixing some of that, but 3.6 needs to go a bit further, and I think people are expecting and wanting that, and waiting. Is there any release date for the Endeavour? Nope. I suspect it's going to be one of the last ships to be released, because it's Science Mechanic, which they haven't talked about too much. Science is very complex, and the Endeavour has a lot of complex parts. When the universe goes live, what safeguards will you put in place to keep adoring fans away and those who wish to target you simply because of your popularity? They'd have to find me first. I'll probably use that in some way for the game. Like, I'll dynamically adapt to whatever I need to do in game. Whatever life throws at you. So if people are targeting me, I'll stay more in lawful space and use popularity to my advantage for whatever reason. Maybe I could be used as bait, whatever. But I'll have multiple accounts. So in some of those accounts I won't make public, and I'll use them when I'm offline to do different things. Yeah? Some for filming, some for playing, whatever. But I don't see... I mean... The thing is if people target me, unless they target me with overwhelming force or something, then I'll just get escorts to deal with them, or whatever. I suspect that it's a two-way street. Do you think the Defender is going to get pushed back again? It could. I mean, that's the thing, it could. I hope it wouldn't, and they seem to be making good progress on it. Are they planning on optimizing the game into VR? So they've had VR in mind for quite a while, since the sort of like Kickstarter days. They need Vulkan there first before they get it VR, and I would expect that Squadron 42 would be the first to step into VR before Star Citizen does. So after Vulkan integration, we might start to see some more stuff on VR. Maybe next year they'll start chatting about it. I was thinking that maybe they were waiting for the next gen of VR headsets, but we've got the Vive Index coming out, which is like Gen 1.5. We'll have to wait and see. But they've been keeping VR in mind, and they need Vulkan support for that first. They need to integrate that, so when the Squadron 42 releases, I suspect there will be Vulkan integration there and then. Yeah, this is a bit early for me, and I'll have to listen to it on the commute. Listen on the commute in an hour. Sorry, John. John.
Lesson 3.
Oh, thank you very much, Simon 3004. All the other Simon names are taken, apparently. Thank you very much. Appreciate the 5-month subscription. If you're crewman on a big ship, Javelin or some such, and you log in when most of the crew and captain aren't on, are you just stuck, unable to play, or are they planning loops for that? That's a good point, John. I don't 100% know. I suppose you can move the ship yourself if you wanted to, but maybe you've only got permissions to be in a certain area of the ship. There's got to be a way. They need a way of you being able to leave and not be locked aboard a ship. And they've talked actually about that with issuing people leave orders on ships, saying this ship is now no longer public, because you might have had it like a Genesis Starliner. Someone might be hiding aboard, and you can issue an order. Everyone has to leave the ship, and if they don't leave, you might not know that they're there unless you do a scan or something. But then you are free to deal with them as a sort of like stowaway, and you can use force upon them or whatever without getting a criminal rating. So that's one of the upsides and downsides. But they also talked about with those like leave orders that they might teleport you out if you accept that you're leaving. Go, has the leave order been issued? You respond to it. No, I'm not going to leave. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to hide here. But if you went yes, then you're about to teleport out. So there might be some less diegetic, less immersive ways of leaving a ship that you're sort of like semi-stranded on. Are there any plans for a Jump Point Volume 4 print run? I suspect so, but I haven't heard anything. When are CIG going to take all those lovely Origin ships away? The 13th of June. Based on what you just said about planetary landing, do you think ship AI is going to warn you that you probably shouldn't enter atmosphere on ships that might be unable to land? Yeah, I suspect that you'll get a HUD warning. I suspect you'll get beep beep. Detecting high gravity or something like that. Almost certainly. When will cargo crests be a thing, not boxes like cargo? They're improving the systems all the time. Coming to Mr. Umu, did you see board link? What? Did I link something? Or do I need to see a link? Any news on the Banu? And when do you think we can see it in game? Well, hopefully we'll get the Banu Defender in 3.6, and that should speed up the production for the Banu Merchantman. I suspect they'll start to look at it in earnest straight after 3.6, or at least schedule it to when they want it to be in the game. I don't see why they would call a fan artwork sneak peek then. What's this fan artwork? What? Who are you? What? Is he writing a thesis? Thank you, board. These bids keep me going. Blessings. Oh, thank you very much, Peter Swats. And what are you writing a thesis on? I've noticed improvements to the P52 and the inclusion of the P72. So what do you think? Do you think that we'll see docking for these ships soon? So the earliest we could see docking for the P72 and the P52 is with 3.8, when they have the ship-to-ship and ship-to-station docking systems in. The earliest we'd see it. Will the Carrack be on sale again? Yes, at some point. Probably both with the anniversary sale, 23rd of November. And when it's live and with what is planned to be 3.8. What's the biggest ship that's flyable solo? You could technically fly any of them solo. And you'll be able to fly them with NPC crews, and some of them with AI modules in the turrets so they can fire at certain things. So it's sort of a bit of a, what ship are you comfortable running less efficiently solo? The less humans there are aboard a ship, the less efficient it will be. Is the way I see it. What's a chock-a-block? Chock-a-block means like bottlenecked, lots of traffic, lots of things packed in. Elite Dangerous has private groups. Will Star Citizen have something similar? In what sense does it have private groups? You're going to have to have organizations. You're going to have to set up parties and stuff. There's going to be the Spectrum side in and out of game. So you should be able to have private groups. Will you be able to have private sessions? Is that what you mean? Where you don't interact with other players? There might be private servers in the future that would be sort of like away from the main Star Citizen servers, as like entire private areas and modding. That's what they said they wanted to have. We don't know if they're going to do it. We just assume they are. That's still the plan, as far as I'm aware. Will we see more players on server? Not only 50. When will we see it? So after object container streaming, the server-side stuff comes in. They'll probably review it and work it out. It might have to be in... they might have to wait until they've got server meshing, the static server meshing in. But we could potentially see more after server-side object container streaming's in. Server-side object container streaming. Potentially. Seems like the party system is broken with the latest patch. Yeah, lots of people are saying that the party system's been a bit, breaky. Your feelings when a new patch is released that breaks working features, good or bad practice. It's fucking awful. It's really annoying because obviously I want to be able to jump in to the game and play. And I've been planning to do that for the last couple of patches and actually get gameplay on my channel. So it's so annoying when they break features and break gameplay loops and breaks like core gameplay loops and features. So yeah, it's you say bad practice. It's obviously a bad thing, but it's the nature of the alpha. Hopefully that will happen less and less as we go sort of like into more and more patches. Paula, you bought a 600 on the grey market. I was afraid they would not even. Yeah, bought the 600 on the grey market. Was afraid they would not do it even at the end. But they would bump up the price on the grey. Oh, I see. Yes, Darian Vorlek is, he moved over to Clash of Clans. Do you think, due to Squadron 42, the PU is suffering greatly, and as such is causing the major restructuring of the Persistent Universe roadmap, while Squadron 42 seems to be thriving? What? What? So, they are definitely making a concerted effort to focus on Squadron 42 Episode 1 and get it ready. And transferable tech and features that will be put into the Persistent Universe. That's not necessarily a bad thing. They need to get the core features in the Persistent Universe working well. And almost all the core features of Star Citizen are in Squadron 42. Obviously, there's significantly more gameplay loops. Obviously, there's multiplayer aspect of the Persistent Universe and a few other important things. But getting those core features from Squadron 42 into the Persistent Universe is not a bad thing. I don't see a problem with it. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it? But yes, you're going to get less of the gameplay loops that are not in Squadron 42. If they're not in Squadron 42, it's unlikely we'll see those gameplay loops in the next, year. Obviously, they are still working on salvage and maybe a few other things, so we'll see some, but not as many as we could have seen if they weren't prioritizing Squadron 42. If you see what I mean. When do you think they'll have a better option for groups of friends joining a server? I think they're working on it now. I'm thinking we might see it in 3.7. I think we're going to see better organization, party, and that sort of feature. Probably creating parties outside of the game, and then being able to join together or just join straight in with other people. Sort of like a lot more organization and party controls. I'll be hiding in System 100. Shit. So I'm not seeing rubber banding so much in 3.5.1. I'm seeing massive amounts of jitter. I've seen a couple of server crashes. But I typically play in the mornings when the servers are less stressed, I found. I don't think I want to target any streamer. That sounds like a bad time. Only assist. Oh, thank you very much, Tom Neverwinter. Bait, you're giving me ideas. Indeed. Did CIG mention any more usefulness of the multi-tool? I think they talked about it. They wanted it to be mining, hacking, welding, repairing, lots of things it sort of do. Maybe hacking wasn't one of them. Maybe it was sort of breaking into doors and things. We'll have to wait and see exactly what functions it has. Patch repairs, mining, welding. I think we will see sort of NPC taxis in the game, yeah? Sort of. So travel across the verse or sections of the systems and things. Any news on the Anvil Carrack? Not really. Still planned for 3.8 at the moment. 6-person ship. So it's sort of like a very compact version of a capital ship. 155 meters, I think it's planned to be at the moment. It's about right, isn't it? Oh, Mantis, thank you very much. I love your face. You look cold. You should put on a jacket. Robert Johnston, thank you very much. I haven't corrected your name in my videos yet, but I will at some point. Kisses as well, Mantis. Mwah. Kisses as well, Robert Johnson. Mwah. I don't know why you're getting kisses now. Thank you very much for the donations and the bits. Thank you. I love your faces. I'm very would say blessed. I'm blessed to have the sort of like supporters that I do. Thank you. From one of the worst Final Fantasy films ever. One of you know what I mean. Because it looked great though, I suppose, and that was a good thing. What else have we got here? What do you think are the most active communities in Star Citizen? Well, there's loads and loads and loads of small groups that are on every fucking day. But obviously the larger ones are going to be more active just by number. So like Test Squadron will probably be the most active Star Citizen community. Or are you talking about like Reddit and stuff? Reddit's obviously quite active. Spectrum's quite active. I thought buybacks were at original price. Has that changed? No, it hasn't changed, but it's always been the most up-to-date price for that item. So they go up in price, basically, as far as I was aware. Star Citizen anniversary is only one day. I plan to be at CitizenCon this day. No. So, well, I don't 100% know for the Star Citizen anniversary, but typically it's over 2 weeks or so, or potentially longer. So expect the anniversary to be a long time event. CitizenCon should be over a single day, but the anniversary should be over multiple days, from the day of CitizenCon and then beyond. So don't worry too much about that. That's assume that they're going to do the same sort of thing they did last year. I don't think that's. I'm hopefully not giving anyone incorrect information. That's my assumption. A couple of weeks of sales, with the last couple of days being all the ships that were previously on sale in the first few days are now available for the last couple. Is the EMP in the Warlock working? I have not tried it in 3.5.1. And if yes, can you currently still make a cat or starfarer pancake planet side if you EMP the atmosphere? Yeah, that's one of the things the EMP will do is that. That's why I'm thinking that some that hover mode and fighting in atmosphere is going to be dangerous for some ships, and that sort of like helps repel them from wanting to assault structures and turrets in game. They're going to get knocked around. They're going to, if they take a hit and lose a thruster in atmosphere, that's dangerous to the ship. They could just crash. But I have not tested EMPs in 3.5.1. I do think an all backup PTU with some features missing is likely again at the end of the month instead of 3.6. Yeah, I think that's a definite possibility with 3.6. If it's not ready because of bugs or whatever, or they haven't finished it yet, then I suspect a all-person PTU for 3.6 until it is ready. For instance, according to the roadmap, the 890 jump is 55% complete. No, so it's not 55% complete. Well, it's 55% complete by task. So tasks might be massive, or they might be small, or they might only be able to be completed when another task is completed. So there might literally be a domino effect of you tick one off, and then it literally ticks all the rest of them off. So you can't work out the length of time it's going to take for tasks to be completed just by their number. Or a feature is going to be completed just by the number of tasks it is. You see what I mean? We want server mash. What spaceships do you want to play with? All of them. Literally all of them. I'm much more into, however, I love large-scale combat and shipboarding and that sort of stuff, but I'm much more into sort of like industrial and economy play. I think that's much more interesting. Oh, Robert Johnston. I guess my jacket hint was too subtle. Anyway, I'm off to bed. Keep the noise down, please. And feck off from me, and good night from him. Good night. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Love your face. It was too subtle for me. I've got a silly Adam Ant type military jacket, which I got for a Fats dress party, but also like it. I'll put it in my room later today. So next time you're on Robert Johnston and I see you chucking money at me, I'll put it on for you. That's why I'm starting to wear clothing for my fans. Thanks. Elite Dangerous private groups have a universe themselves, so I guess Star Citizen equivalent would be private servers. Yeah, so I suspect that any sort of private server that Star Citizen does, though, won't be connected to the main shard. So your progress there won't be carried over to the persistent universe, is what I would expect. So, do you think they'll add offline mode to the persistent universe, or at least a mode where you can fly around other planets without requiring a constant internet connection? No, I don't. I think the persistent universe, by its very nature, is going to be multiplayer, and I think that there'll be areas that are very safe and very PvE focused, and you'll be very protected, but not maybe 100% protected all the time. And there'll be other areas which are very Wild West and very PvP orientated, higher risk and reward in those areas. Any news concerning modding? No. I mean, there's lots of stuff for the modding scene. Like, I want them to expose all the APIs. I want them to allow us to grab data. I want them to allow us to make Mobi-Glass apps. I want to be able to do full-scale modding for the engine so that we can have Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars and all that sort of mods, or just Battle Royale on the planet. But they haven't really talked much about that. The last time they talked about it, they said, yep, that's still the plan, but it's a long way off. And they have to work out the way they want to expose the tools for that sort of creation of mods or whatever to the backers. So they need to build some sort of system there. It's not going to be the same sort of devs, the tools that the devs use. What spaceship are you looking forward to playing with? We talked about that. Economy ships, so I mean, I've got the Reclaimer already. I mean, the Javelin, I've got a Javelin, so obviously I'm looking forward to that. But the Orion, the Endeavour, the Carrack. Have we heard anything about merchandise that was included in some packages back in the day? No, I haven't for a while. Assume that they will fulfill all of those at some point. Apart from Twitch Pacheco mission, is there any other that put you up against NPC AI? Yeah. The Clover Star Neely mission can. The clearing of... What? Loads of missions put you up against NPC AI. You talk about first-person shooter ones. That go clear out the security post Korea, and loads of the underground bunker missions. That should probably fix the audio. It's probably my headphones on slightly loud, so it's picking them up. Apologies. Will Star Citizen be shown at E3 at all? They typically have a PC gaming sort of like stream and show at E3 that sort of like does lots of mini stuff and sort of like analyzes E3 and looks through a load of other games. And typically, or at least historically, Star Citizen's been part of that show. So maybe we'll see some new Star Citizen stuff at E3 on the PC gaming showcase or whatever it's called. I'll tweet out about it or put it in a video if I find out about it, and then obviously do a breakdown analysis of it at some point. I've realised that I haven't really done breakdown and analyses of other trailers and videos that have been shown, which I will do in the future, because I think people like that sort of shit. Do you think Star Citizen or CIG will reveal land claim systems with the Pioneer on the next CitizenCon? So, talked to Aaron Roberts, did an interview with him a while ago. He said that last year, the thing they were most excited about releasing at the end of last year was going to be land claims and land claim gameplay. Not the fully building of outposts or anything, but some gameplay with that. And I suspect that's still on the cards for the future. Obviously, they re-geared and re-changed and reworked everything and reprioritized stuff. So that's why we didn't get it out last year. But I do still suspect that it's relatively high up on the priorities list, getting land claim systems into the persistent universe after Squadron 42 is done. So maybe we'll see something about that in CitizenCon. But I'm expecting that we might see new systems, aliens, Squadron 42 stuff, suits, 3.8 gameplay.
First off, you're awesome. Secondly, I do need to see your head in game with dreads. By the way, if you
Dreads.
need an escort for your gaming, give me a shout.
Oh, thank you very much, Captain Prox. Thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated. And thank you very much for the offer of escorts. You see? That's what I like. With dreads, I think I'd look really weird with dreads. I look really weird anyway. I used to have a beautiful mohawk. Quite a tall mohawk. Which I loved very much. It got me much attention when I was young in a good way. And probably a bad way. Who knows? Then it all fallen out. It's all fallen out now through stress, anxiety, and probably playing games like Star Citizen. My org has been getting quality game time in the past few days. Just use contracts to give ourselves little missions to do. Great, amazing times. That's good. So Star Citizen has got a very good sort of like sandbox and play with your org, make your own stuff up at the moment. But that's because that's through necessity. It's great and it's fun and it's beautiful, the game, but it's sandbox and all emergent gameplay, because you sort of like have to do that if you want to play it now with big orgs. But it's very viable to do that, don't get me wrong, and it's very fun. It's just almost forced upon you. Asked it before, but I don't think you noticed. Sorry if you did and I didn't hear. Is there anything planned in the way of jetpacks and parachutes to survive dropping gravity? Yeah, so Bjorn, they said that they wanted to have a way of surviving, ejecting, and falling in gravity, but they haven't said exactly what. It could be jetpacks, it could be specialist boots, it could be specialist armor, it could be EVA stuff, it could be parachutes. We don't 100% know yet. John D. Hey mate, I love your videos. I've been watching them since you first started covering Star Citizen on YouTube. It's giving me money. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated, John D. And thank you very much for watching for such a bloody long time. I will continue to cover Star Citizen for, well, until I no longer enjoy it, which hopefully won't be until like the next 10, 15 years. I love Star Citizen. I think it's great. I love the community. I love the game. I love the idea of it. I loved covering the news on it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm fanboying and think it's going to be the best game ever. I think there's going to be elements of Star Citizen that I do not like, that are not going to be the best. But I also can see that there's probably going to be quite a lot of Star Citizen that I do love. And my hope is that I love the way it all intertwines together. So I can go, well, I don't want to do this kind of gameplay loop. I can do this and make loads more money. I can pay someone else to do that. They say that endgame you can be shot at Area 18, for example, but the security would react appropriately to talk about. There was talked about possible turrets as well. Yeah, so there'll be security and defense systems in those areas. You might have to smuggle guns in if you actually want to shoot someone as well. So you might have to put your guns away or whatever, get confiscated. But there might be missions on areas like Area 18 to assassinate an NPC or assassinate a player or whatever. So, and you might be able to do that if you're really, really, really sneaky and good. But obviously, if that player's staying in secure areas, it's going to be almost impossible. So bear that in mind. There might be missions of opportunity or bounty hunts of opportunity. What star systems do you hope we will get to explore after the Stanton system is finished? Magnus and Pyro seems to be the most realistic option, and then going Nyx and then towards the Odin system, because that gives us a huge sort of like cross-section of gameplay with multiple types of system, some of them which are quite simple to set up, and then we can move towards Vandal space and get the Vandal in, which are going to be the most fleshed out of the alien races other than humans. Talk about the Kraken, when's it in-game? Don't know. They don't need a massive amount of tech or anything to have it exist in-game. Maybe ship to ship and ship to station docking. But it's a large ship, but it's not overly complex. The Drake pipeline's pretty solid. We could see it in-game by the end of next year, if we were lucky. Any chance we'll see a final version of Squadron 42 next year? Opinion? Yeah, I think that's a genuine possibility. I would expect that the beta will almost certainly be pushed back to Q3 2020. And I suspect we will have a 2020 end-of-year release for Squadron 42. That is my expectation. Slightly optimistic, admittedly, but I'm hoping and almost expecting it now. I'm hoping they give us a release date for Squadron 42 at CitizenCon this year. Is the 300 series rework complete? Sort of. Yeah, they're still going to be balancing it for the flight model and balancing the numbers for it. But its rework, its visual rework is complete. You get in and die repeatedly in your 315p after you've retrieved it. That's lame. I'm so sorry, dude. GOG once said they want to add something like gravity assists, like an Expanse. Is that still the plan? So, when it comes to walking around, we're going to have simulated gravity when you're EVAing, if you want to use it, which will thrust your EVA pack down so that you're sort of like, you can walk on any surface. Obviously, it will use a load of your EVA pack's fuel, but you can literally, that's their magnetic boots, effectively. It thrusts you down to the ground to simulate gravity. And then there are going to be gravity generators on some ships, and they can be turned off, is the plan. And then water will go up in the air, and people will float around. They'll be EVAing. And that's one of the reasons they want the pull-push system in properly, because there's going to be situations where you haven't got an EVA pack on, and you need to move around because someone's turned off your gravity generator, or there's been damage to your ship, or whatever, and you need to get to your armor locker or your EVA pack locker. Someone we know was in the Bethesda presentation. Maybe it'll pull people into Star Citizen. I need to watch all of the E3 videos. That's what I'll do after this stream. I'll eat lunch and watch some of the E3 stuff. Will CIG be showing a trailer at E3? Potentially, they might have something in the PC gaming showcase, whatever it was called, that they appeared in last year. PC game show? Something like that. Are there any additional ship sales coming before November? Almost certainly. You'll expect to see concept sale every 6 weeks or so, and occasional sales. I want the Orion and Glaive. Is the Glaive going to be reworked, by the way? So I'm expecting the Scythe and Glaive to get the same treatment and updates that sort of like the Blade have. Blade has. So like you can see it's got like a updated sort of style. I suspect actually that the Glaive and the Scythe have probably already been reworked, and they're just not showing them until the next Squadron 42 trailer or something. That's my expectation anyway. What's been planned for jetpacks, parachutes, and other on-person personal transportation items? We know that they're going to have varying types of EVA, like thrusters and packs and stuff for your armor. And when it comes to parachutes and jetpacks and that sort of stuff, we don't know. But don't expect jetpacks to allow you to jump around the planet or anything. If they had jetpacks and parachutes and things, or gliders or whatever, it would be to so that you survive if you eject from an area. Actually, I would quite like to see gliders. That would be fucking cool. There will be ways of surviving if you eject in atmosphere in your ship. Maybe fucking jets on your chair. Compared to games like Elite Dangerous or Dual Universe, do you think Star Citizen is slow in comparison? I don't know what you mean by slow. Slow development-wise, yes, there's a lot going on with Star Citizen. Elite Dangerous and Dual Universe are much more focused and are not sort of like high fidelity as Star Citizen. Star Citizen suffers massively from it trying to be super high fidelity, even if it's got a much larger team or whatever. So in development time, yes, but it's a much larger scope. Do you think that we'll be able to build bases in space? I'm expecting that we will see a space station builder at some point, or ways to modify and claim space stations, or something like that. What do you think about the blue lightning in the interior of the 300 series? Would it be better if we could choose... Okay, so, yeah, I would like to see more customization when it comes to colors and lights, and that sort of stuff. Yes. I want to see that. I suspect that will be a thing. Is it, or will it be possible to capture an orbital marker by opening your cargo door and then maneuvering it around your ship around the marker? Potentially. We don't know how the size of the markers are going to be. We don't know how the markers are going to operate. Maybe they auto-destruct if something like that happens. But I suspect that the main things you want to do with orbital markers will be hack them so that you have that orbital marker location as well as the person that originally placed it, destroy them, or take them over. What do you think about turning Star Citizen into an open world single player game due to the limits of current server technology? Well, we're going to have Squadron 42 for single player, and I suspect we'll have mods and private servers in the future for people that want to do that. It'd be nice if there was a test mode that you could log into in the persistent universe to test something. The short term, anyway. What feature planned for the far future would you want to be made more of a priority now? Any of the major gameplay loops. So base building, surveying, medical gameplay, science especially, I suppose. Science and industry stuff really interests me in the game. YouTube just played me an ad mid-live stream. Is that new? Yeah, I thought I had turned off ads on my stuff so that you might have ads at the bottom and at the front and at the end of a video, but I don't know how live streams work. I just woke up. I don't know if anyone has asked. I want to know, since we're able to explore planets, you know, if we're also to create our home and do a customized colonization like in most games. You'll be able to deploy outposts with the Pioneer, or hire someone else to deploy them with the Pioneer and then live there. Yeah, that's the plan anyway. Bases on planets. But there's also going to be physicalized habs and physicalized hangars, which you'll be able to buy or rent on like city plants and things. That's the idea there. Should I buy the Constellation Andromeda right now, or just wait to buy it in game? I would wait to buy it in game personally, but I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their money. Give my opinion though, happily. Do I know if CIG is at E3? They might be in the PC Gaming Showcase, which is at E3 that they have been previously. Why do you think they're not selling other Origin ships at the same time as 300 series? I don't know. Seems silly, doesn't it? I thought they were going to sell a load of the ships that the Origin sell and like have packages for them. Will there be drop pods to launch military personnel to planet services like the Cabal things in Destiny? Oh, I like them. I like those drop pods and like 40k Space Marine ones as well. We know there's going to be escape pods. We haven't seen any drop body type things yet, but I like the idea of escape poddy drop pod stuff. Maybe. We haven't had anything about it though. It's a cool idea. So as in gameplay compared to Elite, Dangerous, and Dual Universe. It takes ages to complete travel around and complete missions in Star Citizen. Yeah, in a small ship, it's going to take ages to move around that area. But if you just do missions around Orlasar and around Crusader, that doesn't take long at all. It's literally dependent on what style of gameplay you want. Star Citizen sort of like looks like it's going to be tailored and catered to a huge range of gameplay. If you want to play fast-paced, slow-paced, whatever. Have you heard when ship armor instead of hit points is going to be in game? It's more than just ship armor. It's ship armor, physicalized components, a piercing system, so ships don't have a health pool that when it's degraded and the ship is destroyed anymore. It literally has, you can damage components, which will then disable a ship. Some of those ships components might explode or cause chain reactions or whatever, so a ship might explode still because of that, but typically it's going to be disabled. Those components might be able to be repaired to get the ship back up, so that will sort of like have people salvaging and trying to repair and boarding and stuff like that. But I don't know when ship armor and the physicalized components are coming. Obviously a core system, physicalized components. Hey Board, love your base. How difficult do you think it will be? How difficult do you think surface mining will become for Prospector with the new hover mode? Well, they've talked about it in specifics to the new hover mode. David Coulson chatted about it, saying that you will be able to tilt forward without it moving you forward. And this is for scanning and the Prospector mainly. So they've got it so that you can sort of like move yourself around sensibly and angle yourself without your ship always going forward and that sort of stuff, and angle your tractor, your laser beam. That has been thought about, and it shouldn't be awfully hard. It should be Should make it more fun or more believable when you're in atmosphere. I doubt it will make it difficult at all for the Prospector. Prospector is a relatively small ship and designed to be able to be used on planets and moons. It doesn't look like science and research have been explained in terms of gameplay in any great detail. How would you like to see it implemented? The thing is with science and research is it's such a huge concept of multiple gameplay loops involving overclocking, tracking down anomalies, farming, creation of manufacture of drugs, crunching data, the info trade. There's so many things I don't know at the moment. It needs to be really... if I do a science and research video at some point in the near future, I'll have to break it down into like 30 different gameplay loops. Has CIG said anything recently about the development of the player status system or the accounting app? Not really about the accounting app, other than I suspect it's something that we'll be able to send monies to other players, as well as just having a better sort of like neater UI and HUD for it. But the player status system, we know, adds the ability to be inebriated, to be hungry, thirsty, status effects and that sort of stuff, all affect your character, tiredness, things like that. That's then enabled, and you'll have to eat, drink, and sleep or whatever in game to get those. Otherwise, you'll get like a debuff to your stamina. Is the idea? We're not entirely sure exactly how it will work, but they've basically said that it's going to be light survival mechanics rather than anything aggressive. How will science and research work? Are you discovering preset things or what? We don't 100% know. There is obviously a procedural system in place for the generation of modular and variant missions. I suspect the science and research and discovery stuff will all be, and exploration, and will all have elements of that. So yeah, it could be tracking down anomalies and then points of interest and going, oh, what's here? Go there, you scan lots of things down, like, oh, it's like a weird black hole type thing, or like a mini black hole, or something similar, something like that. And then you'd fly around and you'd get data on that, scan down things and be like, oh, this data's actually worth a load of money, or you had a mission to go there and find it, or you'd find an asteroid field or a large amount of a gravity well, and it was actually dangerous, or a load of ships caught in a gravity well, or a weird alien thing, or whatever, or it could be a little enemy pirate fleet flying around, fucking around. Lots and lots of different things with those sort of things. So probably not much in the way of preset stuff. However, I suspect there might be some preset stuff as well. A lot of procedural content, I would expect. Drop pods have been mentioned in the universe. They're called nails. Oh, I didn't know they had. Well, they sort of like things that the Tavaran had used. I can imagine the Tavaran using drop poddy type stuff. Thank you for all the follows and subs. Very much appreciated. Good day, Mr. Board. How are you doing? I'm doing alright, thanks. I know it is a new ship, but what would be your ballpark for when we could see the Corsair? It's not a complex ship. Not huge. The Drake pipeline, which is really refined already, doesn't require any new mechanics. Could have it by the end of next year, potentially. I mean, there's lots of stuff you could have by the end of next year, based on their current schedule, but you're not going to get them all in the end of next year. I think it's quite possible to see the Corsair at the end of next year, though. Thinking of melting yours for the Vanguard rework. Well, then wait to see the Vanguard and how that looks in place. I love that they added customization to the 300 series. I've been hoping to add paint customizer for a while. Yeah, I hope they're going to get it in game at some point soon as well. What do you think CIG should do against griefers? I think it's very hard, and strict ban system could do the job. No, so the way I'd typically do it is that you have in-game systems that deal with most of it. So you have severe repercussions if you repeatedly ram someone, or if you ram someone in, that can be getting a criminal rating, that can be paying for the person's ship that you have damaged. So GTA 5 type system, you blow up someone's car, damage their ship, whatever, you pay for that in lawful space. Because outside of lawful space, outside of in PvP areas, I think that you need to be more sort of like, well, if PvPs want to grief in that sort of area, it's not necessarily griefing. It's really hard to say that that's griefing, basically, because you go, oh, everyone that's against me is a griefer. Oh, why did he do that? Well, you don't really know. He could have had a bounty on your head. He could be patrolling his area. He could be protecting his stuff. He could just want to kill you because he's a mad role player. He's like, haha, I'm an evil pirate. I kill everything. So in PvP areas, yeah, in sort of like Wild West, but in the PvE areas, I want systems to prevent and restrict griefing, give them horrible, horrible punishments, give them financial punishments, give them time punishments, put them in prison, make sure they can't get back into that zone of space again. They just get blown apart immediately by the fuzz or by the UEE military or whatever. You know what I mean? I wouldn't ban people and unless it's very, 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 very sort of like against the policy. So if they're being racist or if they've circumvented some protection and gone, haha, exploit, and you're using that to grief someone. Do you see what I mean? Like, or if they're working out ways that they can sort of like push your ship and flip it so it hits theirs so that you get a criminal rating. Things like that, and doing that repeatedly to people, that would be griefing. What's the coolest fan encounter I've had? I've had quite a few of just random things happen. People sort of like clipping my ship and exploding. I've been involved with loads of different orgs. I mean, the Lost Single Dead Roberts. I've done some pretty cool events which I've been able to be part of, which I really enjoyed. Don't really know. There's been a lot of just mess around things that I've done in Star Citizen which I've really enjoyed. Are you concerned with the new picture in flight model hover simulating this? Are you concerned with the new picture in the flight model hover mode simulating this behavior? Says that they're actually the actual physics simulation, or they need to fake this behavior? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know about the hover mode until it's in our hands. And Star Citizen isn't fully physics driven. It is fun over real. Cool. So that the flight model is supposed to be the most part fully physics driven, I suppose. We'll have to see when it's in our hands. I need to see that before I know. But I think that fun would always sort of like... Fun is always going to be their priority over realism. But we still do want a pretty physically driven model. I have to wait until I see it in my hands. How deep do you think CIG will make the medical gameplay? Hopefully deeper than Drag and Medipen Magic. Yeah. So there's going to be ships and medical facilities and gameplay around that. Different tiers of injury. I suspect we're going to be able to stabilize people, have more things than just medipens. They've talked about knowing what you're supposed to do to someone based on analysing their wounds and working out how to heal them, otherwise you might injure them further. Are you excited about the testing effect? About the testing effect from water and the raindrops on the canopy, part of the monthly report. Yeah, I mean, obviously cool rain effects and stuff like that I'm excited for. I'm excited for the dynamic weather. I think that's really important in the game. I think that'll be really fucking cool. But what I really want them to do actually in the shorter term is get rid of reflections from the pilot side, or from the sort of like, if you're looking out a building, if you're looking out of a cockpit, have one-sided reflections. I'm sure you can do that. And so anyone looking in gets a reflection. Anyone looking out, no reflections. That's what I would want more. What do you think will happen to players if they're captured by bounty hunter? Will the player be spawned to an NPC after a few minutes? What happens if the player logs off? Yeah, so I expect what will happen is that once you're captured by, once you're downed by a player that stuns you with less than lethal force, that counts basically as you being taken out. And you'll if you're in a lawful area or whatever, you'll be spawned in prison, or assumed that you were captured, or whatever, and you'll spawn there. And that bounty hunter will have an NPC which is effectively stunned. They can take them and do what they want with them. But that's the way I do it. That's the way I'm expecting to see it. It assumes you've lost one of your lives, or assumes that you've been captured. Once you're stunned, then you're just in a prison, or you're just in whatever. With your booze fund ticking along nicely, are you a believer in pear cider? Surely that's a Perry, no? Is the broken legs bug at Yellow Fixed 2 board? I haven't tested it in 3.5.1. I'm not a fan of pear ciders, apple ciders. Griefers were one warning with a month ban after that permaban. Yeah, the problem is that how do you define griefing? Like, if they have a full definition of griefers, and it is an obvious yes, everyone can pretty much agree, like I was saying earlier, that this is griefing over any form of gameplay, and that mainly it's that if the systems they've got in game to prevent players from doing this stupid shit don't work, or so they're getting around it. And they're still doing that sort of like griefing behavior by getting around those systems in a way that wasn't intended, then that's more griefing to me. And maybe that would result in some form of discipline. Like, if you're cheating, you're actually using cheats or hacks, that's just insta-ban. Insta-ban and IP ban, if you can. POG said they want to add gravity assist like in The Expanse. Is that still a thing? Talked about the magnetic boots earlier. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. So instead of magnetic boots, they're having the A thrusters sort of like thrust you down so you can walk on any surface while in zero gravity. Love! How are you, sir? Do you know if they fixed the refueling issues in game in 3.5.1? It doesn't seem fixed in the live patch. Also, do you know if the server-side object container streaming is going? Yeah, it looks... In the monthly report about server-side object container streaming, they said they were ready to sort of like implement at their end, or ready to start testing, it sounded. So we could get it in 3.6, though I'd suspect it more likely to be in 3.7, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure specifically what fueling issue you're talking about. You're talking... So when I last went to a R&R station to refuel, I got stuck at the station. When ship rental comes out, which is planned for 3.6 for the persistent universe, will players rent their ships? Will player rent their ships to each other like service bounty? Oh, I don't believe you'll be able to rent ships to other players at that stage. You'll be able to lend them to them, but they'll sort of like get a criminal rating if you try and reclaim it. And they effectively won't be theirs either. Like once you go offline, you can use it in that session, but once they log back on, it's gone. Later on, when we have the organization features in a bit more detail, that's probably when you'll see the ability to lend and rent ships to other players, or at least lend them more permanently, I suppose. Will they ever be able to... Will they ever make like a PU fly school? A bit of a tutorial with some acting for new players. I'm hoping we see tutorial in game. Yes. They did have the ghillie tutorial. Also, what counts as griefing? Exactly. I mean, that's the problem. What counts as griefing? Who's then interpreting that? A report system in game's useful, but I don't want... People are going to get flagged for reports all the time just because they didn't like the outcome of someone killing them in a PvE area, or someone cleverly killing them in a PvE area for some reason. So that there needs to be very strict rules, strict guidelines exactly what griefing is, and then they need to enforce that. But it shouldn't be anything that you can do in gameplay without trying to circumvent systems in place to prevent griefing. You see what I mean? Like, obviously you're going to want to circumvent getting caught for doing a crime in a PvE area or whatever. That's not griefing. I mean, even if you're killing a player, it's just sort of like it's a hard thing to define because some people are going to be annoyed about it. How long do you think it will take for beta on the PU to... how long do you think it will take for beta on the PU to be out to the public? When is there going to be a beta for the persistent universe? I think we'll have something much more resembling a beta by the end of 2021. But beta really is feature complete. That's what people sort of like defined it when I talk about it. They go, well, yeah, I see what you're saying with the beta, but beta really should be feature complete and then polishing. So we're not going to have a beta by that standard for many years. With all the gameplay loops sort of like done and just balancing them and ironing out bugs. law system can be circumvented by hacks. Yeah, if someone's doing something external to the game to circumvent a system, so they're going, I'm circumventing this in a way that was not intended for it to be circumvented, then that would be not only griefing, that would be a break of policy, that would be hacking. So that would be a permaban, whatever. I just say that there should be systems in game to solve most of it, and then you should only have problems with edge cases. Those edge cases should be treated as such. If someone is literally going out of their way to circumvent ways and then use them to objectively grief people, then yes, ban. Hack should be bannable as well. But sort of like having a light form of, well, it's griefing, it is a really bad precedent to set. That would break the game. Just calling everyone griefers, or anyone you don't agree with griefer, or anyone that's doing something you don't understand a griefer. There needs to be ways to do that. There needs to be ways to solve that in game for the most part. But yeah, there's obviously going to be you need a report system. There's obviously going to be bad actors that you do need to and want dealt with in the game. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying let's be sensible about it, and let's see what happens, and let's see what opportunities present themselves in the future. How's the 890 going to be flown from Battle Bridge? Because the Battle Bridge is deep inside the ship, and there are no windows. Render to texture tech. I mean, you can control remote turrets even now. You'll be able to see outside the ship with display screens or whatever. You know, I think Cobra is entitled to his opinions, and Cobra's entitled to the worry that, or worry about griefers and that they should be banned. I just think that we need to be reasonably sensible about it, have a hard definition about what's allowed and not allowed in the game, have it so that it would be quite hard to grief. You'd have to go really out of your way to do it. So it's not like, oh, he was griefing. It was like, no, I was killing him because I thought he was a dick. That's not griefing. That's killing someone. Like, you see, a hard definition to make. How will insurance work? When my ship gets destroyed and I won't have insurance, will I have to buy the ship again? If you don't have, so we don't 100% know. There might be some low-level statutory insurance on all ships, so that, yeah, your ship's been destroyed, it takes either ages to get back, or you have to pay like 75% of its cost to get it back, or whatever, if you didn't have proper insurance. But it could be that once you lose that ship and you didn't insure it because you're a monster, that you would just lose it permanently. But insure your ships is the idea, and we don't 100% know how insurance is going to work in the future, though, so bear that in mind. One solution for griefing is to allow players to turn a PvP versus a PvE option. Oh, no. It's a really bad idea as well, John. You can have private servers, by all means, if you want to play not in the main shard. And you can have areas that are more focused on PvE, and you can have super safe zones, which really punish people that try to do PvP. And so someone tries to shoot an Aurora in a sort of like Terra or Earth or Sol or whatever, and they just get obliterated by the UEE and get a huge penalty, like financially. And if they try to do it again, they get kicked out of the system, and they will just constantly be hunted. They get like prison time or whatever. But I don't want a PvE slider. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that. Have areas that are very focused on PvE, have areas that are very focused on PvP, and have areas that are grey areas. Yeah, stay in lawful systems, stay in the UEE systems. What happens to you? What happens when you start quantum traveling and someone is stuck to your hull with mag boots? Well, number one, they're not mag boots, Dominic. They're thrusters on your jetpack, and I suspect they will horribly die if someone is on the outside of your ship when you go into quantum. Is it possible to grief the one who griefs? And should you get banned for it? And Greg's when? Greg's, mate, we are making sure that we have a Greg's store on board by Banning Merchantman. Don't you worry. I've thought about this Flymo now. Thought about it in a bit more detail. Pasties for all, or anyone that's willing to pay. Where was I've lost your question now. Need to reread it. Flymo, I lost your message. 1 second, I'll find it, don't you worry. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're griefing a griefer, then by the standards, like by the rule set, you should also be banned. Like, do you know what I mean? It can't be one rule for one and one rule for another, or he started it. If you're having this sort of set of rules, yeah, so I'd probably have a 1 month ban and then a perma ban after that. But it'd have to be really, really, really fucking obvious, objectively obvious who is griefing. Because otherwise people are going to worry they're constantly going to be banned for just being PvPers or being assassins or bounty hunters. Is there any plans to stop this game becoming Elevator Simulator? Well, I don't know. They've got updates to the elevators and transit systems in 3.6, so maybe it's going to be Elevator Simulator and Train Simulator. Morning, Ashen. What will happen in the 980, the 890, if someone flies the ship and then someone else tries to fly it in the battle bridge? How does it decide who gets to control it? Probably who's got higher permission sets, is what I'd expect. So there's going to be a permission system which gives players by name or by hacking whatever access to ship systems. I expect whoever's got the highest level of permission will be able to go, nope, I'm in charge. It's possible that one of those stations just has priority over the other. Will drugs be more valuable in the future? Yeah, so they want to have a risk and reward system as far as I'm understanding it. And there's going to be salvage yards and sort of like some of these more sort of outlawy areas in the standard system as well soon. I'd expect a range of places you would be able to sell narcotics and some of them to be really high value. That's what you really want. We want the days back when we had Just Jump Town. We want those sort of prices, but in various areas that some of them might be dangerous or whatever, but high amounts of money, because then that gets a lot of people doing those gameplay loops, and that's quite interesting. Any recent whispers of player housing? Not really. We know it's going to be physicalized, address-based housing in the future that you'll be able to buy or rent on planets, and there might be some more public areas as well that's sort of like more apartment-y, but we'll have to wait and see. How would you imagine they'll change multiple gameplay? Right now it seems a bit shallow and not quite necessary. Yeah, so they need to have they need to expand out what MFDs can do and the how necessary it is for someone to literally be tweaking your power settings, tweaking your overclocking settings, tweaking your shields and all that sort of stuff. When turrets work properly, that will be great as well. When systems can be damaged, that will be interesting because you'll need people to run around and either weld them or fix them, fix like relays between them, fix the actual item that's been damaged, fix a broken connection. But I'd also hoping, because I was thinking about this the other day, maybe they should have MFDs allowing you to reroute power. So as a quick bodge job, when a system goes down, like a connection between a power plant and and a turret or a power plant in another system or whatever, like a relay or fuse is blown somewhere, you can reroute it on an MFD, so you can reroute the power with that little mini game, and that gives you a little sort of like, oh, this will work less efficiently, or sort of like do a bodge or patch fix for like 30 seconds or a minute or something while you're getting the engineers to run down there and fix stuff. Because otherwise, certain tactics are going to be really effective against ships and not others. But I sort of like that idea for stations on the ships. I mean, there might be E-War in the future, there might be tracking and sort of like signal recognition, and there's loads and loads of stuff they could do with MFDs and sort of like different crew stations, beyond just turrets and turret shooting and the basics of shield management. An action that's done with the aim of just causing grief to players. For example, killing someone without wanting to pirate his cargo. There might be other reasons to that though, and it's hard to say what their reasons could be. They might be protecting their area of space. They might have someone else paid them to go and kill you. You could have a bounty on your head. They could be protecting a cargo run. Them destroying your cargo might be profitable to them in another way. It's too hard to call that sort of action out. And also, how do you know what they did with your cargo? Yeah? You're dead. You're gone. It might accidentally blow up your ship when trying to get your cargo. And player killing is certainly not griefing. How do you imagine they'll change? That's what we just talked about. What do you think of this game in its current state? And what would you think of? And what do you think of how the game is being developed? Okay, so the development's slow, and I'm not actually a massive fan of them releasing quarterly patches. I actually think it slows down the production of the game. It's great for funding, but I would like a much more rough state of Star Citizen now. I want them to give us a console and the ability to spawn in planets, ships, and that sort of stuff. I'll spawn in a matrix, mess around with it, do it all sandbox, multiplayer sandbox. Just have Arena Commander and Star Marine as the sort of like multiplayer, sort of like handheld, sort of matchmaked modes. But I think you'd actually have a much quicker development of the game if you did it that sort of way. Don't worry too much about the persistent universe until a bit later. So like just allow sort of like more dev console spawning of random things and messing around in a more of a sandboxy world. Its current state, I mean, it's not a proper game yet. It's very much an alpha. It's playable and it's really fucking fun. Sometimes it gets broken. There's no progression. I need progression in a game to be able to enjoy it and be able to play it regularly. And at the moment, Star Citizen doesn't have that. So I jump in for a few hours occasionally, get some footage. Obviously test out all of the new major patches, test the PTUs, any of the Cardi stuff, and stay up to date with the news. And that's quite a lot of hours a week. But once there's progression there, once there's stuff to buy and do, and I don't get resets, I'm going to be playing it a lot, I suspect. So the game in its current state, it's an alpha. It's starting to deliver. It's starting to get the core of the game there. The Squadron 42 is going to be a big sort of indicator of whether they can genuinely pull off Star Citizen. If Squadron 42 is a pretty fucking good game, then I think they've proven that they can do Star Citizen. They have a fuck ton of funding. You can see that, Chris does know what he's talking about and does know what he's doing. And I do suspect that for Squadron 42. I'm very excited for it. It looks great. But we'll have to wait and see. The way it's being developed, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. But I think it's the only way a game of this scale, doing a bit out of the normal, would have got funded in the first place. So I also think that previous to 2016, I think there was loads of problems with the project and them gearing up and getting ready and not knowing how to manage the project, and obviously some mismanagement and lots of inefficiency and stuff there. But I do think they found their feet and they're not a junior company teething anymore. Why is the 315 Imperium not an exploration ship? It has a tractor beam instead of a scanner and a few slightly better components, but no extra fuel tanks for longer range. Yeah, so I was annoyed about that. I was like, 315p, I want it to be really long range for its size, not more sciencey. And now it's more of a science exploration ship. It's a sciencey ship now. It's science utility, so this will just change its sort of role, which is annoying. I think that's because they want sort of like, for that size, they want the Reliant Zen to be the sort of like science ship as well. Will we be able to upgrade to the 890 jump? Last time it was on sale, we couldn't. We could only buy them. We couldn't upgrade to them. What do you think about the price of ship upgrades in the customizations options? How do you think functional upgrades should be handled in terms of real and in-game money? I want anything that is available for real money to be available in-game. All of those systems that they've got for the external website, I think, are fine, as long as they're available for in-game money. Them selling them for real money, I also want the items and weapon systems for real money to be significantly cheaper in bundles. I think that one of the reasons of getting them in bundles, you should just get them cheaper anyway. Getting them a bundle, discount. But also, you're not going to get the exact stuff you want. Okay? There's lots of stuff you're going to still want to buy in game, and that needs to be considered as well. So, and it's just better to buy them in game. So, sell them really cheap. That will encourage people to buy them and actually get them sold. That's my suggestion. But yeah, all the stuff that's out of game on the website at the moment needs to be put in game, and it will be. Oh, what kind of ships are you expecting for 2019? Do you think that add customization system for all new pledges? I don't know. I'm not sure how complex that is to do. And do you think they'll add it to the old chips as well? I think they'll be adding it in batches for the old chips, that manufacturer customization. They've got the 300 series. And I think that will be in game, and aftermarket customization will be in game at some point as well. Lots of different ships that we might get for 2019. Obviously, we've got the Titan seats that are probably coming. We've got a new Aegis Dynamics ship coming on the 24th of August. There's like mining ships. There's lots of ground vehicles. Medium-sized ship. Lots of the different gameplay loops would go a long way. Mine layer. Drone corvette. There's lots and lots of things. I've done some videos about it. So check that out on my channel more recently. How's Mr. BoredGamer today? Getting tired, actually. I might jump off for lunch in a second and then have a look at some E3 stuff. I bought the Corsair and the loaner ship are the Connie Aquila and the Buccaneer. When ship-to-ship docking comes into play, will I also have access to the P-52 on the back of my Aquila? That's the earliest stage you might have access to it. So in 3.8 is the earliest stage you might have access. That's not a confirmation. That's they need that tech there, the ship-to-ship docking, before you can use it. Does a parallel reality exist where Star Citizen is already complete? Only if time is not sort of like parallel at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Will you be able to break open doors of ships with the multi-tool or other stuff for piracy and stuff? I believe that the multi-tool will have some breaking and entering function, whether that's hacking or just welding stuff open. Is there hope that there will be some boarding missions soon? They worked on a first-person shooter 890 jump prototyped mission in the monthly report they were talking about. So that sounds fucking amazing, yeah? We have to have a mission aboard a NPC 890 jump. Oh, maybe just play. Maybe when you spawn an 890 jump, you get access to VIP missions. People have missions to come and wreck your day in the 890 jump. But I suspect to see PvE, 890 jump, protection, and assault missions. I may have missed this already. My apologies. Any update on the Bounty Defender? Another glass cannon? We don't 100% know. But we know that the work was going well with, was it Chris Smith? No, not Chris Smith. Josh Coons working on it. Very organic, Geiger-esque tech. Bronzy, greeny, brassy colours. Seem to be going very well. We don't know if it's going to be a glass cannon. Obviously, it's got those tachyon singe cannons. And it should be reasonably agile, but I would suspect it would be able to take a reasonable beating. When Squadron 42 goes into beta, make sure you don't spoil it for me. If there's genuine spoilers, that's sort of like spoilers that people don't have public knowledge of, I will label stuff spoilers. Clearly. What do you think CIG will do after they release all current plan stuff? Will they overdo it like... what the fuck they're called? GTA Online people. Rockstar, that's the one. Yeah, I think they'll keep on. They're going to keep on releasing for the next 10 years. They're going to keep on adding more and more content, definitely. Star Citizen will never be finished. In that regards, they're going to keep on expanding it out. Do you have any information on how well damaged states are implemented currently? For me, only my HUD ship parts are red, but have no visible hull damage. So they've been updating a mixture of the UV2 stuff and the new sign distance fields even for the 3.6. So expect to see better implementations of some of the damaged states and that sort of system even in 3.6. However, really we need physicalized components and the piercing system, and then I suspect they will be looking more at damage states on both the HUD and physically to your hull, because physical components means that they need to have that stuff sorted. But we don't know when we're getting physical components, unfortunately. Would it be possible to upgrade the 890 jump? What do you mean? That they'll be, yeah, you'll be able to customize it. They'll be after shop customization, almost certainly, and you'll obviously be able to change the weapons and items on the ship. Obviously, it has some capital class components as well, which will be hard to change over when you're in game. You have to go to specialist facilities. Do you think an EMP from a Warlock could take out the shields of the 890 jump? And what do you think about the 890's combat bridge? I don't know. I'm not sure how effective EMPs are going to be against shields. I would have them that they're pretty effective against stuff that's not shielded. Or maybe they do reasonable damage to shields, but they don't get through shields. So if you've got the shields down, they can really good at turning off components. You have to reboot them. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how I want EMPs to work yet. Is the issue. So like I think CIG are going to stab in the dark for it until they get something good. Do you ever feel guilty about shilling over vaporware? Do you ever feel guilty about being a prick? And what do you think? Why do you think I'm shilling over vaporware? Number one, I don't get paid by CIG, do I? I mean, I'd probably say, oh, of course you do. Well, no, of course I don't. I enjoy Star Citizen, I enjoy the project, and I enjoy talking about it. And what's the problem with that? But no, I don't feel guilty about shilling, as you call it, over this vaporware, which is playable now and I enjoy. And 2 Trill Productions. When Squadron 42 comes out, I'm hoping you'll have to eat humble pie. See, I'll be relatively civil, even if you want to be a prick. But thank you very much for the question. Do you have any recommendation for an exploration vessel I can upgrade to eventually? I mean, the Corsair is the cheap option. Carrack's the more expensive top-end option. But get them in-game. Don't spend real monies on them. Will the hangers on the 890 jump work when it's released? But they should do. I would expect them to. We're not entirely sure, but I would expect them to. We don't know exactly how the hanger's going to work, I suppose, though. But I would... It could just be opening doors, couldn't it? I should be paid by CIG. Thank you very much. Should be, but I'm not. One of the other things that really annoys me about that sort of stuff, people can't understand. You'd be like, haha, your game's shit. So, what? I don't have to defend CIG all the game. I enjoy it. I enjoy the project. I enjoy the sort of like the dream of the project in the future as well. And it's giving me pleasure and fun now. Some of those gameplay loops might be trash in the future. Calling it vaporware is ridiculous, though. What a ridiculous thing to say. It's playable now. They have a roadmap which is actually attempting to be fulfilled. They release major updates every 3 months. What a ridiculous thing to say. And I know it's there to troll me or to get a response, but you know, it's just such a stupid thing to say. Like 3-year-old throwing shit around. Ugh. You can call it. Star Citizen's never going to be released as pitched. You could say that some of the areas of Star Citizen everyone has conflicting ideas on, and it could be shit, or the game's going to be trash, or whatever. You say that. That's a much more weighty argument. Talk about it in sort of like, well, you know that some of those gameplay loops you're not going to enjoy. Yeah, I do. I'll play typically the ones I do enjoy. And the game's got such a large scope that I'm pretty excited for it. But again, thank you very much for the question. How does it feel to be so awesome? I mean, I'm a severely damaged and flawed human being, but I appreciate you're so awesome. I'm good at talking. I enjoy talking. I don't really feel shame in the same sort of way that other people do, I think. I don't think people should feel shame about stuff. I mean, life is messy, complicated, and terrifying. And why not be able to talk about that sort of stuff? Are there any plans for randomly generated zones in the PTU? The public test universe is different from the persistent universe. We've got the live build and we've got the PTU. Okay, PTU is public test universe. PU is the persistent universe. PU exists in both. It would enable some deeper exploration and mining loops. Yeah, so there'll be generated content for finding like asteroid fields and stuff like that and points of interest. Yeah, for sure. I stay out of Brexit conversations where possible. I'm not spending real money. I'm just going to wait until harvestables come out and see what we can do. See if we're able to mine on foot. Then I'll save up for a ship. Yeah, I mean, get the stuff in game. Thank you very much for all the subs. Very much appreciated. Legend. Any word on exploration gameplay mechanics yet? Not really. Beyond that, it's probably going to be a lot of different stuff and crosses over into science. We need to see exactly what CIG have got planned, and that needs them to have the core of the Stanton system done first, really, before we see exploration. Because you could potentially have exploration in every system by just sort of like going to the edge of the system and sort of like scanning down points of interest, scanning down new asteroid fields and interesting anomalies or whatever. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate the love. I will try and answer people in a reasonably professional manner most of the time. However, sometimes I think the comment is so stupid. Why would you say that? Why? Yeah. Oh my god, why have you got a weird name? Fidges. Don't worry about the haters, mate. Only fools would think Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are scams. Love your face, by the way. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I do appreciate the love. Well, yeah, no, we obviously know that Squadron 42 and Star Citizen is not a scam. I mean, it might have been poorly mismanaged in the past. I do genuinely think that pre-2016 that there was certainly problems with the project. I think it'd be foolish to say there weren't. And I think it's at least partially understandable. Do you think now that they're genuinely starting to push out content, and although 3.5 is not the greatest patch that they've done, because they did break some gameplay loops, which is a bit of a shame, it did have a load of technical achievements and had some, Arc in Area 18, and the additional content is fucking amazing, and it is a step forward still, which they just need to fix the broken leg. So, yeah, I mean, they're literally just starting to deliver, and we could genuinely see a Squadron 42 release next year, so. Is it worth to buy the Ranger Warbond as life insurance token? Maybe. I can't make that decision for you. I don't like spending money on Star Citizen beyond a starter pack, beyond a gameplay package, personally. Even though I do have like $3,000 of ships that I've bought. But depends on... It all depends. Money's totally relative to people. Some people have huge amounts of disposable income, some people have barely anything. And a lot of the time I think people should spend money on their computers. Personally, that's what I would do. If I had to make a choice, but I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with the money. I can give my opinion though. I've bought a couple of Rangers for lifetime insurance tokens because I'm a monster. Horizon sitting in the clouds. Are you looking forward to the coolest location so far proposed? Yeah, I mean, I think I actually like the look and idea of Microtech more. I like that sort of like clinical and then greenery sort of like vibe, sort of super high tech. I like that idea. I mean, I think based on the cloud tech as well, I think Crusader and Horizon is going to be superb as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think I'm looking forward more to Microtech. How much time before a live build is in Evocati testing? That's you've broken my mind. Mesodic. I don't know how to say your name. I don't know how to say anyone's name, not even my own fucking own. Live build and Evocati build, totally different things. Live build, bam. That's live, that's out of testing. You get a patch, go into Evocati, then Y to PTU. Oh, that is a powerful song. So, when do I think 3.6 is going to go into Evocati? Probably within the next couple of weeks. Almost certainly within the next couple of weeks. And then it can be between a week and a month or 2 months before you'd get a patch out to live from that Evocati phase. You do an amazing communicating work. Kudos to you, good sir. You've broken my brain as well with that statement glitch. I'm not sure if I've read it incorrectly or whatever. But thank you. I appreciate the love. Destructible environments. There are going to be destructible pieces on environments. So bear that in mind. Like they're going to be destructible lights. There's going to be some destructible objects. I don't think we'll see fully destructible environments or stations or anything. But What do you think will happen first? Star Citizen releasing or Brexit happening? Oh, but Brexit's happening at the moment. Whether or not we're actually leaving the EU is a totally different story, isn't it? At the moment. Fucking knows what will happen. It's a good question. I don't know. Any word on the female character model? We've got it in game at the moment. They are doing all future sort of like animations and work on the models in parallel with the male model as well. We should see some improvements in 3.6. When you customize, you get to fly the ship in Arena Commander before buying. Keep king ass, bruv. No, I don't think you do, but you should. I think that's one of the things that Arena Commander is going to be used for test flights. What do you think about CIG temporarily fleshing out some systems with procedural planets and moons, non-landable, so CIG could try both the first iteration of jump points and exploration? No, I think we'll just see we might see simpler planets in the system before they fully iterate on them. That's for sure. I mean, that's true of the standard system. But I do think we'll start to see new systems next year. I do think we'll see some simple systems like Pyro and Magnus, and then Nyx moving on towards Odin. And I think they can do those systems reasonably easily. You hate having a Dutch name. I'm sorry, bro. It's I think your name's lovely. I just don't know how to say it. Now, can you build an org as big as the UE and claim solar systems? So we don't know if there's going to be mechanics for claiming and what that would entail. But you could certainly, with enough people, even with a few people, say that you own a planet. It's just or a system. You just have to enforce that yourself if it's out of UE control. So you'd have to, deal with the people, find them, and that sort of thing. You say what you want. Do you think they'll start focusing on more game mechanics on the server side, container streaming? Do you think they'll focus more on game mechanics once server-side container streaming is complete? Well, yes, but they're going to be focusing still on Squadron 42 stuff, and server-side object container streaming is actually part of Squadron 42 still. The client and the server are effectively your machine in that situation. So bear that in mind. But we're still going to have a concerted focus on Squadron 42 Episode 1 and transferable features and tech to Star Citizen's Persistent Universe until Squadron 42 is released. It's not just going to be Squadron 42 stuff. Obviously, we're getting salvage and we're getting a load of other stuff and new ships and everything. But it is going to be more Squadron 42 focused until Squadron 42 is released. Weren't you going to break for lunch? Yes, but I was trying to answer loads of questions. And then someone annoyed me, I think. I can't remember. Any hope for hotfix for 3.5.1? You might see some more server-side hotfixes. Yeah, potentially. But 3.6 is coming soon, or at least it's planned to be, so they can't keep on working on the 3.5 branch. Are you part of an org board? I'm part of loads and loads of orgs, almost entirely lawful or neutral ones. I'm very focused on economy and industry type stuff, but obviously I'm going to do a bit of everything in the game because I'll be covering it on my channel. I run an org called Nomad Black, which...
10-month sub-anniversary. Can I get a shout-out for Riger's Militia? Big plans, good people.
You can get a shout-out for Riger's Militia. Big plans, good people. Feel free to link Riger's Militia as well. I would have helped you out much more, Mantis, with that sort of shiz. I love your face. Thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I can't remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about? About Squadron 42 and stuff. Yeah, so transferable tech, things, stuff. Not just Squadron 42 focused stuff, but largely that. What do you expect to see at CitizenCon this year? We could see Aliens, we could see 3.8 gameplay, we could see a new Squadron 42 vertical slice, a Squadron 42 release date, a couple of concept ships, or vehicles, maybe something straight to flyable as well. I want to see aliens, I want to see jump points, I want to see a new system. That'd probably do me. Animals. How you doing, man? Also, sorry that stupid president was visiting your country. I don't care, he's the president. I'm pretty chill about that sort of stuff. I'm not going to be angry at America or president or whatever. I don't care. I got a lot of stupid people in my country. Already, mate. It's all good. Do I fly HOTAS? No, typically I fly mouse and keyboard. However, the best HOTAS I've used, by a significant margin, was the Virpil Constellation Delta. What a good bloody joystick. Oh, it's mwah. Magnifique. Virpil, good joysticks. What's my favourite activity I do in game right now? Tourism. I love flying over planets and cities, Lorville and ArcCorp, looking around, messing around like that. Getting involved with organisations when they've got something they've got planned in game. Getting involved with that's really fucking good fun because I don't have to think. It's like, we're doing this and we're taking you there. Cool, let's do that then. I got a little game mode. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that stuff. Oh, shite. Really looking forward to CitizenCon. Bethesda E3 was horrible. Oh, that's a shame. Why the hell does Doom look like Saturday morning cartoon? As always, thanks, bud. I have not watched E3 beyond the Cyberpunk 2077, Keanu Reeves, Silver Punch Man, One Punch Silverhand Man. Yeah, that was pretty fucking cool though. Like, I'm quite excited about Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, Raging Sage, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. But I want to check out E3 stuff because there might be stuff I want to play with Zin DC and other people. I also want to start doing regular, sort of like Discord evening games of Rust or something like that on a server. We could get a load of us together, we could go on a server, we could wreck people. I quite enjoy that. Just get a bit of socialization on the go. It doesn't have to be in Star Citizen. I want to do lots of Star Citizen stuff. I want to do other stuff to Star Citizen as well. You know, I don't want Star Citizen to ever feel like a job to me because I'm so immersed in it. Submerged in it. You know what I mean? I wanted to get some more community stuff on the go. Oh, who am I fucking kidding? I love Star Citizen. Is it possible we get to see a new system 2020? Yeah, I would expect to start to see a new system or two in 2020. The Digital Revolver was great. Okay, I'll check that. I'll check them out. The E3 stuff. The answer, no worries. That's literally what I'm here to do. Any other questions before I run off to get nom-noms? Board, do you think we'll get the Polaris in 2020? We could see it at the end of 2020. But there's a lot of ships I think we could see at the end of 2020. They can't have them all. I just think it's a pretty popular ship. Do you think we'll be able to claim cave systems if they're within your land claim? Yeah, I think it'll be anything under the ground as well, within your land claim. I'm not sure what that will give you, but I think liquids, any materials underneath, the caves they're underneath. I suppose you would then need to make sure you got the entrance in your land claim, wouldn't you? Will ship degrading also happen while not flying ships? So people with large ships have to spawn all ships just to get them repaired. That's an interesting one, Bjorn. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work. I would expect that ships will only degrade while their systems are getting damaged or receiving power. That's the way I'd do it. If your ship's there, existing, and the systems aren't off, then degrade it. Is there any reason why spawning a land vehicle makes your ship disappear? No ships can be spawned at outpost. There's problems at outposts. They're trying to fix the despawning issue. That they should hopefully fix that at some point. Basically, it puts your ship into like the ship spawn terminal there because they've been set up for ships and vehicles rather than ships and a vehicles one separately. Is the way I understand it. It sort of like does the same thing. It goes, we've put you into storage here, which is obviously not intended. But they are trying to fix that. Any hope for 3.5.1 hotfix? Yeah, there's definitely a hope for a server hotfix. They've obviously made improvements, but they do need to get 3.6 out the door. Compliment. Thank you. Compliment in brackets if you wish to bear compliment. You're more responsive to questions than any YouTuber I know, including other genres. Keep up the good work. I've never had a question go unanswered on your live streams. Lots of people do, unfortunately. But the main point of these live streams is just to respond. So, I mean, it's a focus. But thank you very much. I do appreciate the kind words. Are you excited for the visor and HUD overhaul improvements for the character in 3.7? Yeah, I'm excited for the HUDs and the mobiGlass and the UIs all looking better. In 3.6, however, we are going to see the new flight HUD tested in the Gladius. So stay tuned for that, but don't stay tuned, but be aware of that. Is mining in caves a thing? Maybe, we don't know. And they showed minables in caves, but they said work in progress. So, but I would expect to see valuable minerals, metals, items, even mission points, animals, pirate dens, all that sort of stuff that could potentially spawn over time in those areas. Let's not talk about the Falklands in my chat. Oh my god. Oh, let's bring back the Empire! Woo! StarEngine launches on Steam tomorrow. And spaceship models can be imported. Can Star Citizen ships be imported without copyright issues? I suspect there'll be copyright issues. I will have a look. And see about that sort of stuff. If you're not selling them and you're using them for personal use, you might be able to get away with it. It might be worth dropping CIG a message and saying, look, I want to do this non-commercial. It's just, I'm just importing them for, to play around with them. It's cool. Are you okay with that? Or look what I've done. Is this okay? That's not going to anger you, is it? It might be worth dropping them that, but I would suspect they'd be in their rights to be annoyed, but probably wouldn't be. You see what I mean? They might. That's my expectation, not legal advice. Wish they had a setting to turn all lighting to a Star Trek Next Gen version for all ships, at least capital-sized ones and up. I would like to see lighting options for ships. That comes to customization of it, and also just light switches and alert modes. If you could be any animal, how would you be best prepared for a fancy meal? What? What do you mean? Like, I want to be a turkey and stuffed? Is that what you're going on, Johnny? I'd probably like to be, I don't know, a fucking bear. A polar bear. Polar bears rarely get shot. I don't know. I like wolves. I like cats. IRL. Huskies are fucking cool. I fucking adore cats. Not sure if I'd want to be a cat myself, though. I'd lick my own bum, wouldn't I? Something I can't even do now. What's going on? Why? It's a weird question. Turn me into a steak. John. No one ever eat me. I never want to be eaten. Okay? 3.6 to Evocati this week. Potentially, I'd expect more likely to be next week at the earliest, but I don't know how far along they are with 3.6 sort of Evocati type stuff. The patch isn't super complicated, though. It's not like they're not adding a huge new gameplay area. You might be interested in Kanzak. Oh yeah, I know all about these sort of like, well, we sort of do have Kanzak, don't we? The UK is the Queen's head of state in those countries. Was there a Kanzak agreement for after Brexit? Is there for us to be treated in the same way? I'll have a look at it in more details. Like have a semi-working knowledge of some of the systems behind some of the plans that have been discussed previously and how the world operates now. Will all be able to manufacture their own ships, like building huge factories and producing them. At the moment, as far as we are aware, manufacture is effectively simulated in game. We're not sure if you're going to be able to commission or manufacture or build stuff yourself, though. We see that tap, mate. Oh yeah, it's yeah. There's zombies around, mate. What's your opinion on Crytek's lawyers swap? It seems Crytek case is dying, but could the new form turn it around? I mean, look, either Crytek have been wronged or they haven't. It doesn't look to me like Crytek have been wronged in any way. I mean, it still could partly go their way at court if it gets that far. It's much more likely that they're trying to do leverage settlements and that either Squadron weren't getting the results that Crytek wanted, or Squadron meant we can't work under your constructions, or they messed up or whatever, or they thought Crytek thought they could get better results with a firm that focuses on different areas better. There are new stance and tactics by, or maybe they're just cheaper. The new stance by their lawyers, their new lawyers, seem to be a lot more streamlined and more effective and direct to the point rather than fucking around, which looks good, in my opinion anyway. Should mean that they give a settlement position forward to CIG. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I don't think there's much to the Crytek case anymore. I mean, most of their stuff has been, the major parts were already dismissed, and a lot of the stuff they talked about was sort of like doubling down and reiterating things that had already happened. But it was more to, in response to the bond motion, they were just saying, look, there's lots of stuff that could happen. We shouldn't have to put up a bond because we might still win, which is sort of like the bonds there to say, look, it's quite possible that CIG will win, that they'll be the prevailing party, so we want this bond there to prove that they can pay us when we win. So we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think there's much to worry about with Crytek's lawsuit. It's assuming that CIG haven't, that aren't using the Cry engine still for their. Assuming that CIG are not using any exclusive Cry engine code in Squadron 42, then I don't think there's anything to even be worried about. I don't think there's even really a case. That they were still trying to reiterate, like, you're still bound by the GLA. No, it doesn't look like they are. But that's just a layman's view. You want to be a polar bear on my ship because of the lack on pets? What? What? Why am I now a polar bear? I said, I did say polar bear. I was thinking of creatures that are pretty strong. A gorilla, a polar bear. Do you think that Anvil Carrack will also be good multi-role ship? I want to buy it. Get it in game, but I do think, that's my advice, but I do think the Anvil Carrack is going to be a great multi-role and multi-mission and mission running ship for a small group. I think it's going to be fantastic for that. It's going to be really, really powerful multi-role. Obviously more focused exploration, but be able to do a lot of everything. Lawyer swap is explained. First group retainer ran out. Crytek is broke. New firms are willing to take work for a piece of the settlement. Potentially. They're a lot cheaper as a firm, I was looking at and reading. They appeared to be. How is the hover mode going to be implemented for big ships? Are we going to start seeing movable on ships move? What? So bigger ships, they might have a harder time in atmosphere. They're still going to have the VTOL thrusters pointing down and it act like a helicopter. It just might be a lot more weighty and they might not be able to do it as effectively. I just wanted to talk about briefly, just reiterate some stuff on Alpha 3.6. So, Alpha 3.6 currently planned to be coming out at the end of this month for live, but could be delays. We don't know. I'm hoping for at the very least for a 3.6 PTU to everyone by the end of June. So let's hope for that. Great if they do get live. It's just, there's been lots of problems with 3.5 and them getting that 3.5.1 patch out. But yeah, they haven't said they're not going to go for live still. We've got the new character customizer. Expect to see improvements to female models, to male models, all that sort of jazz. Rest stop exteriors for space stations. So we expect to see new types of space station effectively, at least from the exterior side. Different types of rest stops, or at least different shaped ones. There was a delay in some of the AI stuff being pushed back to 3.7, so the 3D pathfinding V2, which is really important for ships and AI ships to move around and shoot and fight us. Hopefully we'll still have fixes in 3.6 for the larger problems, but it will be a bodge job until they get some more of the AI features in and 3D pathfinding. We also saw delays in shopkeeper and civilian NPCs, I believe. Some exciting stuff that's coming in 3.6 though. Black market economy. So that will be the ability to sell stolen goods and probably other places to sell narcotics and that sort of stuff. Probably more of a market for that. We also got the new law system, which has sort of like different areas having different laws, and getting caught will have the sort of like appropriate responses and measures. So you might be chased, you might get a bad reputation if you're caught and scanned when you've got a stolen ship, if you're scanned when you've got a load of narcotics on you, that sort of stuff. So we should see a lot more outlaw gameplay with that as well, and probably more players getting involved in the bounty hunting side and that sort of jazz. We've got hover mode, which is literally when you're going slow in atmosphere, or you've turned hover mode on, you have your VTOL thrusters pointing down and firing down, and all your other thrusters that can put power downwards, and then your sort of like ship acts like a helicopter, but they are allowing you to strafe and stuff like that, and if you go forward, you will eventually break out of that and go into a more traditional flight mode again. Got weapon attachments, so we're about to put different attachments on our weapons for FPS weapons. Ship rentals, really important. A range of ships should be available for us. There is a new ship console that's going to be at Area 18's Astro Armada, so there's not just the Hawk there, there's going to be a range of ships to purchase. I'm assuming that there will also be ship rentals through a console as well. That's my expectation of ship rentals. We've got player free look and ragdoll improvements, jumping improvements, degradation and misfire improvements, so that system actually work a bit better and show wear on ships, items, and that sort of stuff. Player carryables V2s there as well, so better ways to manipulate with small objects, move them around, take off your helmet, hold it on your arm, that sort of stuff, more things to do with them. The improving transit systems, elevators, trains, that sort of jazz. We've got the Vanguard rework, which is changing pretty much everything from the cockpit backwards of the ship. They're all a lot more sort of like similar hulls now with a changed modular room. Even the hoplite, I believe, is getting changed at that stage as well. Hopefully bringing it in line for what it's supposed to be, like a long-range heavy fighter, actually giving it some viability in the game. We've got the P-52 rework and the P-72 becoming flyable as well. The Bounty Defender, the first bounty ship in the game. Interested to see how that works. A lot of people are worried it's going to be a glass cannon. Let's wait and see. But it's the first bounty ship, and then they can actually start potentially working on the Merchantman in a bit more earnest, or at least have the style guide and the first gold standard ship for that race there. And we've got the very big Origin 890 jump for 3.6 as well. I'm hoping it won't be delayed. I don't think it will, but we'll have to wait and see. Lots of tasks to still complete for it. 73 out of 103. Actually bring it on screen for you. But almost 200 meters in length, and it's got capital-sized components, so that's classified as a capital ship. What else have we got? We got the some new weapons. We've got a Lumen V submachine gun. Got some neutron repeaters for ships. We've got a new pistol. Okay, so we got some server optimizations. Now, it's possible that we will see server-side object container streaming tested in 3.6. Possible, but we've got asynchronous disconnection refactors. So that should help prevent crashes from the server and the client side, and lots and lots of things like that. Very useful, something they needed to get sorted. And the client-to-server active networking rework. So this will make servers authoritative, which is great. That means that clients that are laggy or buggy or glitchy or whatever will no longer sort of like be authoritative to the point where they degrade other people's performance around them. The person that has the bad connection will suffer effectively compared to everyone else. And this should make stuff a lot better for the servers. It's important before we get other server improvements there. I'm surprised it wasn't server authoritative in the first place. I'm not sure why they made it client. I don't know why. But this should also see like shots registering better and things like that. We've got improvements to the ecosystem. Just expect them to keep on improving planetary tech and the way that sort of like the assets look and all that sort of jazz. They're working on planetary tech v4 as well at the moment. Sign distance fields for their new shield system tech. So this will have shields wrapping around ships a lot better and deform with them if they get damaged, those ships. It should be a lot closer to them and look a lot better as well. I think it's probably more efficient resource-wise, but I'm not sure. Harvestable entity spawning will handle things like spawnables for loot, for plants, for minables, lots of things like that can all be handled by that. And then we'll generally have some more performance optimizations. I'm hoping that we see server-side object container streaming, but as long as we see server authoritativeness, that'd be pretty good. I don't think we'll see the Banner Defender being delayed. I hope we don't see the 890 jump be delayed. Question, do you expect there will be wipes between persistent beta to full launch? I would expect that just in case. Do you know what I mean? Do you think Squadron 42 will release in 2020, or do you think it'll be delayed again? I think there's a possibility it will be delayed until later, but I'm very much expecting that CIG are probably aiming for a late 2020 live release for Squadron 42 Episode 1. How's traveling between systems going to work? There'll be jump points. We're not sure exactly what will happen when you go through a jump point. I suspect there's not much gameplay there. It may be mapping jump points or finding and discovering them might be some more gameplay, but it would just be go through. I'm expecting going through a jump point. We'll just take like a 20 seconds or so and take you to where you want to go. Can you buy insurance for ships in game? Not yet, but you will be able to in the future. At the moment, it's assumed all ships have insurance and you can reclaim them. Now as well in 3.5.1 and going forward, any changes you make to your ship, so if you put in new weapons, new items that you buy in game, they persist. Obviously, there are still resets every 3 months or so, and that will reset your Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchases and those changes on those ships if you made them with Alpha UEC. When do we get more planets? We will be getting, the plan is to be getting Microtech in 3.8. And then Horizon, so Crusader and Horizon landing zone in 3.9. Bam. I had an itchy nose, I apologise. I'm not too fond of hangars for landing. When do you think we won't have landing pads at Lawville and Area 18? Why do you think we don't have land? I think we might see landing pads there as well. I think we'll see lots and lots and lots of different ways to land at lots of different zones in the future, and private hangars and things like that. A lot of the stuff they're testing and doing it because it looks cool. Right. I am going to dash off for lunch before I get too hungry and get a headache again. We're going to go see who is streaming some Star Citizen. G online. Some love he is. No, he's not. We do have lots of French people online. Give SMB some love. Super Mac Brothers. I love Ryan. He has cases full of shoes when I see him at events. It's like, how many shoes you brought with him? Only 3 pairs this time. Haha. He had like 8 pairs when I first met him in his case. It's like, what? Why so many shoes? I love shoes. I don't love shoes. But anyway, give SMB some love. I love you guys. Thank you very much for the joining me and the questions and the donations and the subs. Very much appreciated. Raging Sage, did I say thank you very much for the sub? Well, I mean it. Thank you very much. Will London become a spaceport? Potentially London, Japan. New York was the other one, maybe. Thanks for the live stream. Thank you very much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Singe cannons. Yeah, Banu Singe cannons. They are sort of like hit scan, effectively beam weapons. And we will see more beam weapons in the game eventually. Anyway, take care, guys. Love you soon. Love you later. Bam.